and gentlemen, to yet another episode of Here's the Thing. Do apologize for the delay. I have been caught up with school in my very last week. I'm about to be, as long as I pass all my finals, graduating from the funeral services program that I've been studying for the last 2 years. So, had a lot going on. Haven't been able to properly focus, but we're back in it. We're going to have this one. We're going to have another one coming out same day, trying to, pick up the pace just a little bit. But I am here joined again by the homie Reverend Television, also the homie Lord of the Loud Packs off in the corner, kicking it on a Saturday in May, So, yeah, I am just kind of trying to, maintain, move forward. Like I said, getting to the end of this degree has been kind of crazy, just as far as learning about the human body and the way that it decomposes, and the idea of like the canon of beauty, which is the idea that your face is supposed to have these very specific mathematical proportions. It's all kinds of crazy shit. But Derek, Rev, how have you been in these recent days? I know you got your union situation. You can't really talk about it.
I can't really. In all honesty, like my day job is, growing marijuana.
Speaking of marijuana, you want to get into some of that right there?
Sure. Yeah. Pass me a lighter.
But no, please. I know you've been cultivating how long now?
Well, I first started growing weed when I was like a kid, like 16. My father showed me how, and then he sucked at it, so I went to my friend's mother, this old hippie couple. This is back in like 2004, when it was still pretty illegal. But 2004 was the first time I pulled down a crop. But then I stopped for a while, and then got hired in 2017 for a big dispensary. It's actually the first dispensary that was in Mass. And I'm not really going to talk about who, what, where, or why, but we're in the middle of being unionized by a bunch of corporate lizards, so I've been pretty much fighting them and then getting these orders in on hiphopzombies.com. If you're listening and you haven't copped anything, then what the fuck are you doing? Can you go over to hiphopzombies.com and order some shit?
Well, I was gonna get into that. Thank you for the shameless plug. Always a good thing.
Well, that's what I've been doing. Yes, I've been doing.
I understand that. No, I was talking about the question I actually asked was, when did you get into cultivating? That was the question I had.
Well, first you asked, what are you doing? How have you been? And then I said, okay, this is what I've been doing. And now I can keep on going. And then I explained how I cultivate, and I've done it since I was 16. And then
the question I was particularly asking was when you started working for the people you're working for now. It's 2017. That was the answer.
Yeah.
That was that. But no, I was just curious as far as, because again, I know that that's not something that you can talk about, but it's basically what you have going on.
Talk about unions and how they're really,
Oh, well, no, that's it. Again, being in school, some of the last stuff that we've been working on in my business law class has been about unions and labor laws, collective bargaining, and all these different kinds of things. I'm well aware. And that's kind of the point, is that the reason why you guys can do it this way, especially in the midst of a pandemic, is because it's like an outside. I know you were definitely deemed essential. I'm not taking that away. For sure you are.
Yeah.
But one of the things that it was actually an answer on one of my quizzes, is that, that basically in the public sector, if the safety or whatever, I can't remember the exact wording of it, is infringed, the right to restrict is restricted. Or the right to strike is restricted. Mm-hmm. But I think that has more to do with things like postal unions or just governmental bodies.
Well, we also don't have a contract yet. So, I'm getting paid to negotiate the terms of the contract, but everybody else is just being represented by the 1444 UFCW. Shout out my motherfucking homies if you're out there.
Well, hey, push this to them. They could hear it.
Yeah.
One way or another.
I'd say definitely, actually. Shout out to all my heads at the grow.
And to me, I look at it where it's crazy how this is a thing that is happening now where the idea of weed in the legal sense was such a crazy thing because labor shit, that's been going on since, the fucking Joe Pesci and the Irishman, you know what I'm saying?
It's been going on since like the late 80s, since the
Of
Industrial
course.
Revolution, you know what I mean? Like, that's why it's crazy that, like, modern corporate lizards, they placate you with these, like, these little fringe benefits, or they'll like go on like a social mission, like Black Lives Matter, for instance, and hijack it to just sell shit.
Yeah.
And then they meanwhile they're gouging their own employees' benefits and selling and reselling to larger corporations. And then they're like, oh, you don't need a union anymore. That shit's antiquated. That's when companies didn't care about you.
Yeah.
What? Excuse me?
As though they do now.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's just that everyone has a great facade of a fucking,
Well, but that's also kind of what I'm saying is that a lot of people that are not boots on the ground, that have not been involved with marijuana since long before it was legalized, which that's us.
Mm-hmm.
I never grew it, but I was always interested in consuming it. I was always interested in the laws about it. My father was going to Amsterdam when he was young, when that was the only place you could smoke pot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, when I was a kid in like 2002. And I found out, about Amsterdam and all that. I was like, I'm just going to go be a dishwasher. And that was my life goal at 20 years ago now. I was like, now I actually work for a dispensary.
It's actually funny. I can remember my father, when I was young, used to wear this gray T-shirt. And it said Dutch Seed or Dutch something.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that. It's Dutch Seed Co.
Well, but here's the thing. I didn't, when I was a kid, I used to always see that shirt, and it was just like, whatever, just a shirt my dad wears, whatever. But then the design was like a seed that kind of had like wings coming out like that. It was so recognizable.
Oh, yeah.
And then I went to, and this was also by the time that I knew my dad was smoking pot, but I went to, I think it was like a girl that I knew at the time. I went over to her house or something for a barbecue, and her uncle or something was wearing a shirt. And I was like, my father used to have that exact same shirt. That's so crazy. And then the guy was like, oh, if your dad has this shirt, then he went to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, he did. He actually did. I used to, I may have told you this. I lost it, and I feel like an ass about it. I used to have a first edition copy of High Times, the first High Times ever.
What?
Yeah.
And you lost it?
Yeah, I know.
It's all right, because I sold my copy of Big Bamboo. I don't know if you know what that is, but it was a legendary Cheech and Chong record that came out that had a rolling paper that was this big. Yeah, and I had the rolling paper, everything, and I sold it,
But no,
money, so
my mother actually. So do you remember, I don't think you went with us because this was Hightown and I think Cryptic in them or whoever it was.
What, the New York shows?
The New York show. One of the shows.
Different. I booked like the mass dates for that thing.
One of the shows that we did
underneath the concrete
was at the Yippee Museum. Exactly, beneath the concrete was at the Yippee Museum, which is my mom used to roll with the Yippies.
Yeah, that's forever, man. And shout out Ron.
Oh yeah, exactly. And fucking. Well, so one.
Check there was the mic, motherfucker.
There was There was a story that was about
I'm at the joint. You looked at Max looked at the microphone. Right. That was funny. Yeah.
But so we were going through New York, and they happened to be shooting Shoot Your Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah. Shoot Your Enthusiasm all
shoot
over.
Your fucking enthusiasm all over. Uh-huh. When we walked up, we were like seeing it. We were enthusiastic. Oh shit, that's awesome! And then they were basically telling us to be quiet. And I always loved that they actually asked us to curb our enthusiasm. But
so you seen Larry David and Jeff Gollum?
I saw Larry David from a distance, but camera phones weren't quite so ubiquitous at the time.
Yeah.
So I didn't have one.
Which is a good thing, man.
No, you're not wrong about that.
I miss visceral experiences.
But so. In doing that at that place, so my mom used to live, be around these people, and one of the dudes who started High Times, who killed himself, she used to live in his apartment.
Really?
Yeah. And so that was how.
With him or
no,
after he died?
After he died, I'm pretty
sure. Did he haunt the place?
I don't believe so. But the whole thing is, she had that, and I had it forever, and then just in the moving from there to here, actually, I'm pretty sure is when I lost it. But
what was there? Copies just left behind in the apartment?
No, she just had it. Again, she was a yippie. She knew these people.
Yeah.
My mom's been politically motivated since she was young. She's a feminist.
That's so funny,
but
dude.
She's been involved in the stuff since she was young. She's always had a lot of opinions, a lot of very strong opinions. I can't imagine.
No way, Madd Maxx's mom's opinionated?
Oh, I know, right?
Jeez.
So it was just for the way that god damn it, I'm dropping things. For the way that things have been trending, it's crazy to me now where, again, a lot of people don't know that these companies it's a dispensary. How could they be supporting the man, bro? It's a dispensary. It's weed. How could they? And not knowing that, first of all, just your situation, I feel like is the tip of the iceberg as far as corporatization of marijuana. Like if you look in California,
I think it's really actually right in the nucleus of it, because the lawyers I'm going up against are with Ogle Doubletree.
No, I'm not. No, please understand. I'm not saying
you're right though.
I'm not saying your situation is not A massive / B. I think I've said this before. It might set a precedent. Do you know what I mean when I say that?
We're not the first to We're not I don't know if I expressed this before, but there's already we're already unionized multiple dispensaries because of this exact situation.
But let me ask you this: how many of those dispensaries are as big as yours?
Pretty much the same. There's this one called Curaleaf. Yeah.
No, I know.
Well,
Curaleaf.
You know what the biggest difference is? Not anymore, actually. Now that I think about it, we probably are the biggest one, and with these charges, and that just makes my dick hard, because I fucking scream at these people, dude. I belittle these motherfuckers.
All I'm gonna say
and
is
everybody
this,
listening, do that to your bosses.
Yes, but I will say
don't
this.
belittle them, but treat them with equal respect.
That's all I'll say. I think you want to know.
Don't ever fucking disrespect yourself for $1.
No, I agree. I think that you should give your bosses the respect that they deserve, which in a lot of cases is not much. But all I'm saying is this: in your case specifically, I would just say, don't let the erection be your actual. You said it makes you dick hard, don't it?
I know.
Don't let that be that principle. Because first of all,
let the erection.
That's great life.
Exactly.
Yeah,
see, Lord of the. See, Loud Packs don't talk much, but when he does, it's fucking gems.
That's a T-shirt. You gotta sell that.
Oh, for sure. Oh, that's a T-shirt. Oh yeah, just black shirt, white fucking. Don't let the erection be your direction.
No, I have my head on my shoulders, and I also have two other. I highly doubt they're listening, but fucking B and Rob, these other people from the union. We all have a committee, and we do pre-meetings and stuff. But then they do encourage me to call them out, because the last session, I was able to just pontificate fucking so eloquently how much they were fucking us, and all he had to say was, "I reject that characterization, Derek. I reject that." And then we went to a caucus, and when we came back, one of the issues that we were talking about was a grievance procedure, and more or less there was and I thought it was funny that we tried to put in a provision where it was the language being used during the first grievance process won't be beholden to you as being
legal speak is crazy, man.
What I'm trying to say, not legitimate. What I'm trying to say, just to break it down, is what the grievance process that we were trying to put forth is if you start swearing during the first initial incident, that you won't get fired because of the heat of the moment. And I personally thought that was a bit much, and I don't even need that. I can control myself, believe it or not. I'm on medications to help that. But when the lawyer responded, he's we agree with most of this grievance process, but we don't think you can just scream at your manager if you want. And then he gave me props, because he was Derek was able to disagree and pontificate all of his points, and he didn't use any bad language or yell. So when it's time,
that's always been something that
I don't let my erection follow the direction. But
fair enough.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, I scream at the right people at the right time.
No, fair enough. Look, my whole deal is something that I've always really prided myself on, is being able to convey my point, even if it is kind of an aggressive or angry point, without being angry or aggressive. That to me is a really helpful thing of knowing language. Yeah. No, I understand. Having a good vocabulary where when you can speak to somebody and then you use words where they're oh, this dude actually knows what he's talking about. Yeah. Not just, I have a lot of emotion and I'm just going to speak behind it because I feel so strongly.
You gotta save that for the soapbox, is what I'm saying.
No, true.
You know what I mean? When you really need to rile support and in a way, how Bob Marley said, speaking in a way that everybody understands you, because you speak real simple. You know what I mean?
No,
to really cultivate the biggest response, but when you really have to get your point across, you're definitely an assassin with that shit.
I do my best.
And it's important.
Now,
so what are you here to talk about today,
well, I'll
Madd
tell you
Maxxx?
this. Well, so because I love you, I am going to bleep out your friends' names as well as the name of the lawyer, because I'd be willing to
Did
bet.
I say the lawyer's name?
You were saying something, it's Ogle something.
Oh, the company.
Whoever it is.
It's a big-ass company.
Well, but no, you're right, but you want to
Yeah,
know what?
bleep them out. Yeah, they could
If
be.
you- well, no,
they
but
probably
this
are
is-
following me. And if
It's
y'all
not
aren't
even,
following
that's
me,
not even
then
what I mean. What I mean is this, is that
fucking have fun.
if this gets any kind of traction, though, just your 3 names and any of that could link to, oh, that's who these, you know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you. Yeah.
So in any case, we'll bleep it so nothing happens. We'll, be good on that. But no,
I don't even work in this country.
But I'm glad that we discussed that for a bit because, again, I feel like it is a good example of what the world looks like right now in the sense of corporatization or high business or all these other things are being flipped on their head, and weird things like marijuana companies even existing is crazy, but unionizing is another thing that, like, a lot of people, like labor laws, never would have thought that they would have to think about something like this, I bet. So it's just crazy that, like, what I'm trying to get into now, because, just in the sense of what's going on today, like what's happening today. You know what? Just in case I think of some kind of cool sound, let's pause for a minute. All right, cool. I'll assume that I came up with some kind of cool segue into my current events for the moment segment, because that's essentially what this is going to be. Who knows what the fuck I'm going to call it yet. However, Dogecoin. Do you know what Dogecoin is? Have you heard about that?
You got to break it down because I'm so ignorant to
Fair enough.
most things.
So this is what I'll tell you. That Dogecoin, now, do you know what the Doge meme is? Do you know what the Doge meme is?
I know what the Doge meme is,
Okay.
but let's give a little background because I don't think everybody who listens to this show is trading in cryptocurrency.
No, you're
so
at-
what's
well,
the basic principle?
That's
of
kind of the funny thing
cryptocurrency?
about it. Well, cryptocurrency is basically just, I don't know exactly how it works, but it's a digital form of currency that has value because of how rare it is, how much of it there is. And
People say it affects the environment. How does that happen?
because it requires a massive amount of computing power to be able to make these transactions. Like, if you want to have Bitcoin like at a certain amount, it's code basically. So
Okay.
that code has to be stored somewhere.
Okay.
And so when that code is stored, dude, a lot of people don't know about this kind of stuff because it's not
but-
something that they're, hold on, no.
Yeah, I
a
was
lot of
gonna
people
say-
don't know how these things work. Like, bro, the way that the internet and online and all this kinds of stuff works, like, there are places in New York, I know there's one in the city where it's just basically, it looks like a skyscraper. But the idea here is there are server racks the size of Amazon warehouses, just gigantic server fields where data is kept. Because a lot of, not even just for like the kind of internet that we use or the kinds of things, think about it like this. Companies that are like shipping companies that ship and receive billions of dollars worth of merchandise every day. Those companies need to be able to communicate online. They need to be able to communicate quickly, and they need to be able to keep on record the vast amount of data that they have a hold of. And this is companies like that. You have IT companies that specifically run, like, who takes care of IBM's finances. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You think IBM's finances aren't pretty heavy? Or like Dell or Tesla even. Tesla's accounting department, basically. They have to be able to compute all of these things. And computing power requires electricity. So at that point, it comes down to how you're powering things. And in a lot of places, they're cutting trees down in favor of being able to make nuclear plants, or not necessarily coal plants, but like steam power, to an extent. I mean, nuclear power is steam power. They use the nuclear reaction to create steam that creates the pressure to push the turbines. But one way or another, cryptocurrency and NFTs apparently require massive amounts of processing power.
They said Bitcoin alone uses more electricity than the entire country of Argentina.
I just
Bitcoin.
for some reason my mind doesn't wrap around it. Like, I understand the concept of a power plant or physically mining coal, but I grasp it. It's because they have to make these buildings for the servers to store them in, and the more cryptocurrency, the more buildings with servers and all that shit.
So,
the
basically, it's just not even just cryptocurrency, but everything online generally. Like, here's a perfect example. Right around the corner from here, one of Orion's classmates. I can't remember their name, but they are Indian, Hindu. Maybe not Hindu, but Indian. And in any case, the husband, I believe he goes back and forth to India, but he works in IT, and this guy has like a room downstairs with just racks and racks and racks and racks and racks, because they have all this data that they need to be able to. That's another way, like algorithms. Algorithms can be used for so many different things. One of them being like managing data or compacting data. Like a lot of that data might not even. They have all that space for all that data, but that data might be all fucking compressed and encrypted, and you can't even do anything with that data unless you know specifically how to decrypt it, parse through it, decompress it, and then extract it to wherever it needs to be extracted. Like, the level of complexity that goes into this stuff is pretty high. I really don't understand it. But to me, I look at these things. There was something I saw some years ago. I could look it up on YouTube probably. There were these glass discs that they were making. They were like about like this big, about like the size of like 3 checkers on top, one on top of each other.
Like a poker chip almost.
Like several poker chips. Like about that many poker chips.
Like 2 inches, 3 inches high.
Supposedly, that thing right there, however it is they use that to read the data or whatever, there you can put something like 700 terabytes, so much, insanely much data that you can fit on this thing. Like, basically, this is the way that we could catalog the entirety of human history and thought and data and knowledge and whatever, because that right there is the ability to put so much in one little piece. That's another, that's definitely a problem that they're thinking about going forward, because everywhere is starting to require internet. Like I've talked about this before. Places like Tanzania or Madagascar that don't have infrastructure like power poles or internet phone lines, they get cell phones, and now they're able to be connected to the world commerce, and they're able to have their own commerce that's international. So at that point, you have to figure internet computing capacity is going to continue to go up. So it's like the Elon Musk is trying to do what he's doing with the satellite internet, which supposedly is going to work well. He seems to know what he's doing, but it's just like everything is going in a direction with technology where it's so funny to me. People worry so much about the planet, because I'm not even taking away from the idea that we should protect the wildlife and we should protect the environment to a certain extent. But I think that it's really funny to me. Like George Carlin, I was just listening, I think Chris put it on. He was saying how 90% of the species that have been on planet Earth are gone. 90%. And that's a lot. And they disappear very quickly. And that's irrespective of what we do. Humanity does does create problems and does create pollution and does, there are issues there. But the fact is, I have always maintained that I think the green initiative is silly, because the planet ain't worried about us. The planet's going to be here when we're gone.
That's one of these things, man, and why I don't like how it's like super identity type like politics now, because I don't agree with a lot of the there's different environmental issues like more pertinent than others, but if you just say sweeping climate change, people will donate to and get behind causes that like the carbon tax and shit, and then you can just pay the carbon tax and it doesn't matter what emissions you're putting out. So that means that China and India, who don't have any emissions regulations, they're obviously just going to pay them. So I agree with you is what I'm saying. I was just curious how you broke it down well, how cryptocurrency affects the environment. I get it.
I saw something recently that Joe Rogan was talking about, or somebody Joe Rogan had on, they were talking about, where there was a dude who was like CNN, I think. He worked for CNN. And so he was going on Tinder dates. And on these Tinder dates, he said, pretty girls will get you to talk. And so, I guess maybe that's kind of what was going on. But, he said that this dude basically flat out said CNN pandered to the left, that they would play everything up on Trump, everything down on Biden,
Yeah.
and that, well, no. So, number one of the points that he was making is like, we all know it, but it's crazy to hear you say it. Just lay it out flat, like, yes, this is what we're doing. However, the point that I'm making and why I'm tying it into this is because he said next, they're going to do it with climate change.
Yeah.
And to me, I think it's crazy because, again, like I'm saying with a lot of this stuff, yes, global warming is real. There's a lot of science behind it.
And they've already started this with Gretchen, whatever her name is. Like.
Oh yeah, no. I know what you're talking about. Greta Thunberg. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People hate, and we'll go. And this is a good segue to your barbershop conversation.
Oh yeah, we can.
Because here's the thing about that, just to stay on brand, is that Greta Thunberg has parents is close with George Soros. So if you believe,
interesting.
So like, you don't have to go down the
whole. Were they friends first?
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't become friends through her.
No, not. And so they're all heavily vested in climate change. So they come up with these fantastical stories. So then you're like, you're ridiculous if you think George Soros is drinking a child's blood. And it's like, yo, we don't think that. We think that you don't care about the environment and you're making mad money off of social movements. You know what I'm saying? By using a 16-year-old girl.
No, true, and you want to know
and
what?
that girl believes in what she's saying. I'm not saying that like George Soros held her down and was. You know what I mean?
No, of course.
They're just using
people's
because we care about the planet.
Of course,
so
problem.
It's easy to get money out of you.
My problem with all of that stuff is that exactly what you're saying. It's more about the agenda than what's actually being done.
Yes.
In a lot of cases, it's more about the amount of money that you can make or spend or fundraise based on these kinds of principles or causes is like a lot of that fundraising money, it's real easy to just move it around.
It's all, and most of it is just
and embezzle it, but embezzle it
yeah.
in a way where like this looks like it's totally legit and you're learning how to pay your taxes. This is one of these things that I've tried to say, and I feel like a lot of people, they don't like. Here's a perfect example, and you want to know what? We'll go into this, and then we'll fade out to. I'm going to get into my video game segment because I don't know how much you would, get down on video games, and I can kind of.
Yeah, just wrap up all the shit with me. I get it.
No, true indeed. Well, no, because like I said, I'm going to be, trying to do this more so where you've been here for every episode so far, but there is still going to be an aspect to this, where I'm just doing it on my own.
Yeah.
But no, my point here was that with these kinds of things. It's the amount of money that can be made on the green initiatives is like just that is why it seems like there could be definitely dastardly shit. And to me, the idea that this girl was friends with George Soros, or her parents were, that definitely is. It sets a bad precedent as far as any arguments are concerned about the situation. But I also feel like
you could say the same parallel as Dick Cheney in his role.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
It's just so funny that certain things happen and then people directly benefit.
No, for sure.
And then you gotta it's up to you. You decide what's a coincidence and what isn't.
No, true indeed. And I mean, that's also
choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
like
really.
The guy at the barbershop. Tell that story.
And that's I was kind of trying to segue into that. What I was saying is that this guy, when I was over there getting my son's haircut, he was talking about like we were just first of all talking about music, but then one of the other dudes starts talking to me about religion. And I've been in there before, and I've actually had a conversation similar with somebody else who had been there. I don't think it was the same dude about. Like, he was just ultra religious, and because ultra religious, all science is a lie. He doesn't believe in any kind of science of any sort, and the world is flat.
Even the Vatican believes in science. Some of the best astronomers.
And the Earth is flat because the Bible says so, and goes into all this different stuff that's just like
YouTube Academy.
It really makes me sad because. The reality of a lot of these situations is that, first of all, do you know what the Dunning-Kruger Effect is? We've talked about it before.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. But
the Dunning-Kruger Effect, the long and short of it is that people of lower intelligence will believe things wholeheartedly without a lot of proof, and people that are statistically intelligent doubt themselves endlessly because they require a higher level of information and data to be able to actually verify something. So at that point, it basically means that I believe it no matter what you say. There was something that this comedian was talking about where there were people who were told, like 100 people, do you believe that there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq? That whole situation. Mm-hmm. And all these people answered however they answered. I can't remember the exact number of how many answered yes. We believe that it happened. So then they show them the evidence, documented. This is the evidence that it was not there. This is the proof that it didn't happen. This is the proof. This is the proof. And then these people, huge amount of them, pretty much almost the same amount of people that believed originally, it in fact made them believe more because, oh no, you're just trying to convince me that it's not true.
Yeah.
You're just trying to convince me. And at that point, people that believe so strongly that just what we've been taught is a lie. Yeah, we've been lied to. Yes, education is not the way that it should be. But the fact is that if number one, statistically, the more education you find in a city or a region, the less religion you find. Mm-hmm. That's a statistical fact. But beyond that, so many of these places, so many like low income, black, white, Asian, Latin, whatever you want, native in fact even, so many of these not properly educated, and so therefore they are religious as hell. So absolutely, I believe it. This is what is happening. And that's why a lot of the world looks the way that it does still, because a lot of people just, I read the Bible and that's the only thing that I believe. You cannot tell me anything outside of it.
Yeah, but I'd never make a broad stroke on any
but really think about it. Look at the country. That's a huge amount of the country is like that.
No, I know, but you can't just be like, oh, you're this type, you follow this type of religion, so like persecute them.
I'm not, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that it just needs to be like, it needs to be understood that almost
churches need to be taxed.
No, first of all, that was one of the things that I said.
Guess how much religion there'd be?
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean? And
I said like, that. No, that was specifically what I said in the conversation. Was you know how you could fund all these different social programs that we need? Tax the churches.
Yo, and you know what's
tax the churches?
You know what's something that's crazy that I didn't learn until I think about 2 years ago. So they how Christian the government became was really not until like the 40s or the 30s, somewhere around there, where they started doing the national.
Right around World War II, I could see that.
Well, they did the national prayer, and what it was is these fundamentalists, like evil, rich religion people, bought their way into making an annual event. So then, like Republicans, who were traditionally just against like big government and not like didn't like give a fuck about race, just the ideals of a fucking Republican were against big government essentially, and then the church like that because they're fucking don't like taxes, you know what I mean? So they got really in with Republicans.
You're wrong about that.
And then they thus in with the war machine, racism,
same
all
thing,
that, then it all gets folded into one. Like so now if you're into one of those ideologies, now you're into all of them.
That was funny. Same thing with the Confederacy was never really looked at the way that it is. There was never really like a resurgence in that until this group called the Sisters of the Confederacy, which is like a sewing circle basically. That
it's always the stupidest origins.
That just decided they were gonna like, oh, we're gonna do this. We're gonna, we want to, we're gonna push, our heritage. And I've seen juggalos staunchly push that like it's heritage, not hate shit.
You gotta be kidding me.
Oh, dude, you would have no.
Well, that shows you right there that like any dogma or creed or
can
anything,
be twisted.
Yeah, and so that's why I'd never give shit to anybody. I've met great, people who are Christians and Wayne's Christian. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I mean. No, there are great Christians out there. I don't take it away from
spaghetti
anybody.
God or whatever you want.
Flying spaghetti monster.
Believe in
pushing down on us with his noodly appendage. Yeah. No, but so listen, we're gonna take a second here, and I'm gonna get into this next segment, something I've been thinking about for a while and working on. Probably gonna have Reverend Television back for just a minute before we head out, but we're going to break into a video game segment because that's something I've always been fucking super heavy on. So I'm going to call this one inspired by recent games that I've been playing where I have been getting all fucked up. Going to call it Get Good or Get Wrecked. So let's check that out right now. Let's fucking go! Get good or get wrecked! Hello and welcome to Get Good or Get Wrecked. I'm already getting wrecked myself because I didn't have everything quite ready when I started. I fucking thought that I did. Anyway, This segment is going to be dedicated to video games. Video games are something that I have always, had very close in my life. It's always something I've done a lot of ever since I was very young. Final Fantasy VII was the first game I ever remember like truly loving. But the thing is, I remember loving just video games themselves from a very, very young age. Like, there was this kid, may he rest in peace. Fucking tragic the way we lost him, but good friend Nelson Cole, he was a video gamer that I was friends with through my mom. My mom was friends with this woman, Deborah, from Brooklyn, from the time that I was born, basically. And before then, probably. And so we always connected on video games. We always talked about them, always played them together when we could. And we ended up losing touch, as we got a little older. And when he turned 21, tragically, he drowned at a party. It was it's tragic to this day. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to fucking bring everything down there. But the whole thing is, we always connected on video games so hard, and it was something I was always into from, like I said, a very young age. And so it's something that I want to be able to talk about and, discuss on here, because it's something that really does mean a lot to me. Not even just in the sense of, like, I enjoy them a lot, but, like, so many friends that I've made, or so many of my friends, the reason we connect so much is because we connect on video games, like the homie Fatty, who, bless him and his girl and their new baby. We always played Nazi zombies together from Call of Duty. Always used to play that shit together. I'm talking about, like, playing since Black Ops 2. I mean, I've been playing since World at War, but we were playing together since, I think, Black Ops 2, because the main one that I remember playing with other people was Kino der Toten, which was the one from Black Ops 2, the theater, which had the snot zombies and the fucking teleporter and all that cool stuff. So that was basically, like, video games have always been huge for me. So I'm just, I like talking about them, so that's what I'm going to do. One thing I am also going to do, however, is take a quick little rip, because I always love to stay toasty when I play video games. And we all know that video games and weed go together like fucking cocaine and waffles. So, let's do it. Not going to go too crazy. But anyway, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is a recent game that came out on the PS5 known as Returnal. Now, Returnal, basically, the story is like, there's this woman, her name is Celine. I think they say her last name, but I can't remember. So she is part of this, like, new world, like, New World Order. Like this, like, in the future, like, the company's called Astra. I think they're like some kind of space mining or space exploration. Who knows? But so she's looking for this planet, and the planet's called Atropos. And then they find the planet, and you find out through some story exposition that she's like, maybe she wasn't supposed to go there. They don't really get too far into it. There's other stuff too, like there's an astronaut, but I'm not going to ruin it. But so the premise of the game, though, is it's a third-person shooter, which is basically, you're running around, you can see the person, you're not looking from the first-person perspective like a lot of shooters like Call of Duty, things like that. But it is also based on two different kinds of genres that are very specific. There is roguelike, and roguelike, to me, I don't know that I've ever been a big roguelike fan necessarily. Three genres, actually, but still, roguelike, I don't know that I ever really got into roguelike games. I might be wrong, but apparently those are games, if my understanding is correct, like dungeon crawler games like Gauntlet Legends from the arcade back in the day, certain other games, I don't really know a lot of popular roguelike games specifically, but I do know that the idea is that it's meant to be very difficult, and then when you die, and like in Gauntlet Legends, you would have to continue by putting more money in. But like in a lot of these games, if you die, you lose your progress, you go back to the beginning, and the only things that you still have are either certain resources or certain weapons or unlocks or keys or whatever, like checkpoints. So the idea here is that you're not really able to save your game and go and at that spot. You're supposed to just, if you die, you go back. So at that point, basically, it's the roguelike aspect in Returnal is that when you die, you just go back to the beginning. But that's also part of the story. It's not like it just happens that way, whatever. It's like you keep dying and waking up and being like, dude, what the hell is happening here? Like they comment on it. You find old video recording or audio recordings that talk about what you've been doing. It's crazy shit. But also another genre that it lends from is, Souls-like Dark Souls. That's one thing that people have likened it to. Same thing because of the dying and respawning. But also, it lends from games called bullet hell. Now, bullet hell is games like from the arcade back in the day, like 1944 or Raiden or things like that, where you're like a plane shooting projectiles, and the other things are shooting projectiles at you, and you have to move all around, move out of the way, keep shooting at them, and it's really difficult stuff. It's hard games. The only game that I know of like that really did it in third person, but did it in recent times is, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Nier, Nier. Those games did really well with you can shoot, but it's mostly third person melee, like slashing, Devil May Cry type stuff, which by the way is one of my favorite genres of all time. Love those games. Devil May Cry was like another one of the first, that was one of the first like PS4, the PS2 game. First PS2 game I really loved was Devil May Cry. Before that on PS1 there was all kinds of Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10. No, 10 was PS2. And I'd have to look at the time frames, but on PS2 it was things like, what am I thinking here? It was things like Final Fantasy 10. It was things like Final Fantasy 10 too, to an extent. You get hate for that, depending on who I say it to. But no, one of the things I was going to say on PS1, another one of the games that I really loved, and frankly, now that I think about it, I actually may have loved these games before Final Fantasy, was Resident Evil. And that's another game that I'm talking about right now in a bit because I've been playing it, but we'll get into that in a bit. So, Returnal, the reason why I want to talk about it is not just because I love it, because I do. It's an amazing game. On PS5, in my opinion, it's the first game that really properly utilized what the PS5 is able to do as a completely original game, because Demon's Souls was a remake. Demon's Souls was amazing. I love that game, but it's basically almost the exact same thing as the game that came out however many years ago. I can't remember exactly what year it was. So I loved it, but it's still, to me, like Returnal, the use of the adaptive triggers for when, or the haptic feedback for the vibration when you're standing in a teleporter, or when it's raining on you, or when like you jump or dash or get hit or anything. When you shoot, it's amazing. Like, it's done so well. To compare, like on Resident Evil 8, it does use the feedback on the triggers to, like, for certain guns, it's harder to aim down sights than it is for others, but it's not the same. PS5, like the Resident Evil Village was made for the new consoles, but also for the old ones, which means really it was made for the old ones and optimized for the new ones. So to me, it didn't do the same as with Returnal, where Returnal is only made for PS5. It is only a PS5 game. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's my personal opinion that the PS5 wins, or the PS4 even wins, generally when it comes to as a gaming console against the Xbox, in that it has the in-controller speaker, where you can hear things. And it augments the gameplay. It makes it different, makes it better. I have always thought that that is one of the things that really stands out to me in showing that the Xbox is not really the superior gaming console. In some ways, it might be the superior computer. It might be. But, because game console is a computer, essentially. It's just a dedicated computer. But the point is that the PS5, like, here's another one I just read, that the PS5 version of Resident Evil Village, it will load at like a second, maybe a second 0.7, something like that. But the Xbox, I think it loads at 7-8 seconds, which, yeah, it's a lot, but it's 600% faster that it loads. So that's significant. I don't know exactly why it happens that way, but that's apparently what happens. So to me, PS5 hardware and software, even capabilities, all that, haven't really been explored that well yet with like new IP, new games, new stories, new just whatever. And Returnal is, in my opinion, the first like hot app. Like the first you need to play this game, it's totally, this is next gen. This is a PS5 game. And like, there's going to be others that do it. I'm sure there's going to be other games that come out going forward that are going to be on that tip. But I will say that personally, I think that it is the best example of what a next gen game can be so far. That's me personally. That's what I think. So, you know, I do apologize because I got off onto a fucking sidetrack. I was saying the reason why I'm talking about it, other than the fact that I like it so much, is that I've been seeing some controversy about it. I was tweeting back and forth with somebody for a bit about how people are upset that, number one, the game was buggy. Which, as of this recording, they've patched it so that bug that was happening, apparently they've resolved it more or less. Now, there was an issue when I was playing, and it only happened after the update, that while I was playing, it didn't glitch out visually. The gameplay continued playing, and it all worked fine. But the sound got super distorted and staticky, like it was broken, basically. And that was odd, but I was still able to continue playing, and I think I just died because there was so much going on the screen at once. Which, that's another part of the game, that so many things can be on screen at once is like, really speaks to the processing power. But beyond that, like I said, the controversy is the bugs, which was causing people to crash after long games where they were getting a lot of fucking progress, which I feel your pain. That sucks. That just sucks, period. There's no way that you can mitigate that not sucking, for sure. But at the same time, it's a new game. This is, one of the sacrifices of playing these new games. They're gonna be buggy to an extent. And for a game like this, obviously it's a perfect storm of shit, where it's a buggy game where you can't save anything. But that was the other part of the controversy, is that people basically want the game. I saw multiple people tweeting that they wanted an easy mode put in. And that just was like, what? No, fuck that. Dark Souls don't got no easy mode. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta get good. Get good or get wrecked. That's like, literally, we're gonna continue this on talking about different things like fighting games and stuff like that, but that's why I decided to talk about, or call this segment, I apologize, Get Good or Get Wrecked, because that's the way that I look at shit like this, where you got a game that is literally made to be difficult. The genres that it means to mimic are genres of games that are difficult. But also, the one of them is called bullet hell. That's literally the genre. Like, when you look at the projectiles that they shoot at you, or the lasers, or any of that, that is all from bullet hell games. And the bullet hell games are just inherently hard. Like, you are not going to play a game that is in the bullet hell genre, and as you're going through it, it's going to get any easier or any less unforgiving. Like, Metal Slug is a perfect example. I love those games. That's a bullet hell game where you run around as a person, you're not a plane. You know what I mean? Like, to me, those games are meant to be fucking difficult. Like Metal Slug in the arcade, the only way you're beating that game is if you're fucking amazing, or you got a bunch of quarters, bunch of tokens. Because you're going to either be pumping tokens in every time you die, or you're going to be just so good that you move around everything. Because I've seen some people play that well. It does happen, but, like, it's just... I also think it was funny that PS5... because it's a PS5 Studios game. I thought it was interesting that they chose, with Housemarque, to make a game that so much would appeal to the hardcore gamer, because it's based on three genres that are all fucking unforgivingly difficult, like really, really hard games. And so, like, I wish I could remember the name of it. I'll take a look and I'll talk about it in a different episode. But there's a game that I play on Xbox where it's an 8-bit roguelike, where it's a dungeon crawler, and you have the ability to dodge, you have the ability to fall off cliffs, you have, like, all different kinds. You have melee attacks, distance attacks, super attacks. And here's the thing. Every time if you die in that game, you're just dead. That's it. You go back to the beginning. But you can, if you get certain amounts and you unlock whatever different kinds of currency and get that, you can either spend it in the middle of the game and get upgrades, or you have to go back to the beginning. And, like, I can't remember exactly how that part works, but it's so insanely unforgivingly hard. It's like a bullet hell dungeon crawler, and, like, it's 8-bit, so that means they can put all the processing power into the AI in the game. And so, like, it's just not only so difficult, but you have to get through these levels and you have to beat, I think, 3 different bosses. I've only ever made it to the first one, and it was so stupidly hard, but I loved it. I don't mind that I haven't beaten it yet. Someday I'll go back to it. It's a game that you're also supposed to play with other people. I will give it that. I've only ever played by myself. But I love it when a game is so hard that it upsets me. Like Bloodborne or Dark Souls. Like Bloodborne was the only game that has ever gotten me up out of bed where I was like, nope, fuck that, gotta go back, gotta fucking beat it. Have to fucking beat this guy. I cannot go to sleep and be able to sleep soundly without fucking beating this guy. And that was the Blood-Starved Beast. Which is funny because he wasn't even really that hard when I went back to play him the second time on the New Game Plus. Just being able to dodge properly and knowing when to hit him for the visceral attack was helpful, but like, I prefer when a game is made to be difficult to play it difficult. If it was meant to have varying fucking difficulty stages, it would have varying difficulty stages like Resident Evil 8 does. Now, Resident Evil 8 as a PS5 game, I think that I think it's great. It's so well done. The fucking graphics are so crisp. My TV is not amazing. It's a TCL, but it has HDR and it has 4K, and it's so crisp. And when you play these games, it's super fantastical. It's not meant to make any sense, but it's just like so in depth. And for a fucking Resident Evil game where, you think about the first 3 games even, where it's these linear fucking, you can only shoot what's directly in front of you, and weapons have way different range, and it's, polygonal fucking models and some cutscenes and stuff. They were revolutionary for the time, like, when you think about it, but it's just like, I will say this, it gives off such heavy, strong Resident Evil 4 vibes. Like, everything about this game feels like Resident Evil 4. Even a lot of the stuff with a lot of the imagery and a lot of the, the way that people turn into BOWs. Like, that's a perfect example. In Resident Evil 3, when it was still the older shit, the only thing that there was fucking, BOWs and crazy shit, but there were, it was mostly, the tyrants, they had specifically, experimented on people or things or animals, like the alligator or whatever. But then there was Nemesis, that was the main thing, but there was other stuff that you had to fight, obviously, and then, that thing, fucking transformed into crazy shit. But then once Resident Evil 4 came out, people transforming into crazy shit, and biologically, or I can't remember, it's BOWs, biological organic weapons, something like that. Whatever it actually means, those things in Resident Evil 4, that was where that started. Like, the game, the story, really started to diverge from what it originally was. And now, in Resident Evil 8, they've kind of, gone full circle, where I don't know exactly how it fucking figures in, but Umbrella is, being reintroduced. They're part of it again somehow. I don't know how. I'm pretty sure that they fucking, marketed it in a way where I'm not giving anything away by saying that. But it really is it's a very well-made first-person shooter game and a very well-made horror game. There was a part, and I'll say that it was House Beneviento, where it had the first part in a video game where I've played in many years where I literally had to stop, holy fucking shit, that's unsettling. It really fucked me up for a minute. And I had, it took me a couple of times to beat it because I was so fucked up by it that I was I couldn't even cognitively figure out what I was supposed to do. So it was definitely wild. But something that I will check in on later, because it is a thing, is, they have RE-verse. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's some kind of online thing. Ever since Resident Evil 6, maybe even Resident Evil 5 with the online co-op. I don't know if they did Mercenaries, but they have been trying to incorporate the online element to help keep people playing. Some of the Umbrella Chronicle games were like that. I think maybe some of the Revelations chapters might have had some shit like that. But I think it was Resident Evil 6 they had the specific multiplayer, and I didn't really like it very much. I don't think that it was as good as it could have been. Resident Evil 3's The Mercenaries, as long as they do shit like that, just give me a fucking survival mode, that would be glorious. Love shit like that. But I think that Resident Evil 8 really did a good job in capturing what Resident Evil is supposed to be, especially for just Chris Redfield is involved, and not in the way you would think he is. And I'm not giving anything away by saying that, but I was shocked. So I really am loving the direction games are going in, very cinematic, very like experience based. I really appreciate that in my video games where like for the Final Fantasy VII Remake is a perfect example where I personally loved it. I think they nailed it. I love everything about it. I don't care if they release it in 10 fucking episodes. I'll buy every one. But point is that the way that they did it first of all captured what I imagined the game would be, which is like real-time third-person slasher with Final Fantasy turn-based, elements in it, and I think they did an amazing job with it. But that's a story for a different day. I just thought that it was amazing how cinematic they made it, and how when it comes out for PS5, I cannot wait to see the high resolution of these games. Like, I'm gonna go back through it and play it again, obviously. Maybe I'll do a playthrough on that if I can ever like conflate this fucking podcast with streaming. That would be cool. But no, I love how cinematic and deep video games are getting. Like, Roger Ebert hated on video games. He said it was an inferior medium. And for storytelling, in certain ways, that was true. But now, you are able to absolutely, especially with so many of these games that have alternate endings, and that, like, they allow you to be part of the storytelling. And, like, with games like Fable, you are the story, basically. Skyrim, you are the story. There's so much to do. They can fucking, The Witcher is a perfect example. So good. Can't wait for the next season to come out. But I don't want this segment to get too long. You know what I mean? I can save this for the next episode. But, anything else that we're going to talk about? Because I was going to also go into Mortal Kombat for a bit, because Mortal Kombat is the fucking shit. There's the movie, and there's Mortal Kombat 11, and, whatever. So, we can talk about fighting games and stuff like that in the next episode. But for now, I just wanted to hop back into, the rest of the content and take a quick break for myself personally. But then also, like I said, we're going to bring you into the next segment here where, I'm trying out some new things, trying to see what works, see what doesn't. And, hang with me. We'll be back in just a sec. Hello and welcome to the superhero segment. I wanted to talk about this kind of stuff because, same as video games and everything else, superheroes have always been super heavy in my life. Like, ever since I was a kid, I always really loved just comics and, like, you want to know what? Going even further back from that, and I think that this is probably where it started. In school, there was, in the library, which I, nerd as fuck, that's where I spent a ton of my time, I always ended up reading about, like, supernatural stuff, aliens, werewolves, Bigfoot, all that crap. And they had a few of those books in the library, so I was just checking them out. And, but there's also, I remember from a very young age reading the story of Beowulf. And the story of Beowulf, I can't remember it exactly. The one thing that I know is that it's in, like, Scandinavia or something like that. Or I can't remember exactly where. And then the Grendel, like, busts in to, like, the chieftain's, like, it's like maybe a party or a dinner or something, I can't remember, and basically wrecks shop and fucks everybody up. And I think he's been doing it for a long time. So they were like, all right, we got to do something about this. And Beowulf, I guess, was the hero that decided to go on the quest to do it. So for whatever reason, that always was really interesting to me. And then from there, I got into, like, Greek gods and mythology and stuff, like the Minotaur, Perseus, the Labyrinth. That's all one story, but Perseus is something different. I'm forgetting who was it. See, I need to brush up on this stuff, but the point there is that I always was, like, very interested with, like, superhumans, like the idea of a person that can shoot lightning out of their hands or run super fast or fucking whatever. And as the time goes by, you get a little older. I remember I have this distant memory of, I think it was at a dentist, and they gave me some, like, you know how some of these places back then, not even so much now, but more in the 90s when comics were getting a little bit more popular, some might remember this, that, like, doctor's office or dentist's office or different places where you knew that you were going to be, but kids were going to go, you would have these, that was my elbow cracking if you heard that, they would have these, like, little comics that would basically kind of get you interested in whatever it was you were there to do. Like, Captain America fights tooth decay or fucking whatever. Like, it's interesting the way that all that stuff was done, which I also think it's a funny paradigm in comic book movies or video games if you check this out. Like, if you played the Avenger video game, the new one, which kind of flopped it, which is a shame because it was a good game. Although I say that, but I don't play it very much. Part of the beginning story is Kamala Harris, i.e. Ms. Marvel, going through this place, and you have these different comics to collect. In the MCU movies, sometimes you'll see these superheroes have comic books, and it's just funny to me. It's like, oh, so what is this in the world where these things exist? This is like a factual accounting, like comic books are another version of like the tapestries of old, like where that's how they document the battle and shit. Like, I always thought that was really funny. Excuse me. It's really, really fun though, like getting into that world, getting into that, like, just, you know, a place where it's fun, a place where things are crazy and it doesn't make sense and things are just fantastical and buildings fall down. But I will say this, one thing that changed over the course of the last, like, let's say 10, 15 years is when they started doing these superhero movies, like Dawn of Justice, I think was what it was called, whichever one it was, there was the first, Man of Steel maybe? The first Henry Cavill superhero movie, Superman movie. I apologize. Then there was also Batman vs. Superman, which I loved. I don't know if anybody remembers the Batman vs. Superman, or the Batman-Superman TV show, animated TV show that they had for a while. Pretty sure it was the same usual, like the Superman animated series, voice actor for Clark Kent, Kevin Conroy for Batman, Bruce Wayne. And it was an awesome show as I can recall it. But then when they did that movie, it was like one of the entire linchpin of the movie was in the original movie, the Superman one, when Kal-El is fighting Jor-El. Is that who it was? Or no, Jor-El is his father, because I'm thinking, come, son of Jor-El, kneel before Zod. Oh, so no, Zod is probably the fucking... I'm so stupid. In any case, that was all, like, Mallrats shit. I'm a Jersey dude. But, so, point being here, they did that, but when Superman fights Zod, the destruction of just taking the buildings down and flying through everything and going crazy... You know, up until that point, superhero movies, that's just par for the course. It's just what they do. They just blow shit up. Same thing, and you want to know what? Maybe this was a response to what Marvel was doing, because in Civil War, they did the same thing where, like, explosion happens, bad stuff, and then, like, oh, we have to do something about that. We have to, you know what I mean? We have to account for that. It's like these buildings come down and people die. It's not like these people aren't anybody. Like, in Civil War, Tony Stark was swayed by the life of one person because his mother walked over and talked to him. Like, there weren't lots of other people who were also somebody's son, somebody's mother, somebody's brother, somebody's friend. Like, just that one, though, was enough to get him, like, and I understand from the story framing perspective, you could only do so much, but it was just to one guy for him to be flipped and be like, oh, this is not okay, because one life is too many when you really think about it. So... at that point with Superman and then Batman versus Superman, it was like Batman says, we got to keep this dude in check. We got to do something like that. Same as, like, it's all very common shit. I got to be honest, man. I was looking online the other day, and there have been Marvel DC crossovers, so I don't really, like, there was apparently a moment where the universes got shattered, or the dimensions, or fucking whatever, and fucking Superman held Mjolnir for a moment. He held Thor's hammer for a sec. So crazy though that may be, which I also thought it was very funny that after the whole situation happened, he was like worthy for the moment, but then he wasn't worthy anymore and he couldn't pick it up again. And we have this whole thing of Superman being able to lift these like impossible whatever, which that's another one where it gets confusing. Like, he couldn't pick up Mjolnir, but him and I think it was Shazam both picked up the Infinity Chair, and the Infinity Chair weighs, or whatever, the Mobius chair, and that it weighs infinity. So half of infinity is still fucking infinity. So what does that mean? It's one of these things where I try to say to people, if you really are into comics and you really dig that shit, I totally understand the debates. I love the debates. My good friend Rashid, who I will have on this show at some point, probably for this very segment, you will have spirited, serious debates. I've had debates with this dude about fictional characters that never existed, where by the time it was over, I was like a little bit upset. Like, I was a little like, you know what, you're my friend, but fuck you, kinda, because I can't believe that you feel that way. But All I'm saying is that you should always remember that at a certain point, yes, there is canon, yes, there is precedent, but the reality is that they can just change shit whatever the fuck they want. It's all fictional. So, you should always try to remember that that's the case. Like, a really good example to me is the fact, and I'm going to use this to segue into like what's kind of the common or current what's going on right now. Black Widow. Black Widow is definitely one of the most popular and beloved characters of the entire MCU Infinity Saga. And so, and really when you think about it, her character was definitely a good character in the comics, fucking Draco's daughter, or Dracov, I can't remember, this assassin, well-trained, first an enemy, then a friendly, she was very well executed, and Scarlett Johansson is a huge reason for that. But my point here is that up against all of the, when you look at someone like Vision, put Black Widow up against Vision, what's she really gonna do? And that's also considering that Vision got washed every time he was on screen. It was very, very rare that he would get good hits in and that he would do something on purpose that was dope. He took Rhodey out of the sky accidentally, who I'm pretty sure was on his side, and then fucking paralyzed him for a minute. But, Vision, and it sucks because Vision's power, realistically, was amazing. And I will say WandaVision did a good job in kind of going a little bit more outside of that and doing some shit. We'll go into it another day because I want to go into some depth on that one. But WandaVision is one of the best shows that was ever made to me. I got to be completely honest. I really, really enjoyed how much they were able to make this poignant, amazing story out of fucking comic book characters. Just this amazing commentary on grief. And then Falcon and the Winter Soldier pops up and makes an amazing commentary on American politics and world politics and racism. It was, I fucking love it. Spoiler alert, I'll say this again, spoiler alert, so you can skip ahead 10 or 15 seconds. The fact that fucking Sam Wilson, Falcon, is Captain America now, which is also comic book canon, I fucking love it. It's the way that it was executed and putting him in that position, and they're going to keep making Captain America movies, which, by the way, means that they can bring Chris Evans back in flashbacks or fucking training montages from, again, flashbacks, really, that's the only way they could do it. Or, who knows, time travel. They could fucking flip it around and then bring him back, who fucking knows? I don't think they would, but they could. And, and Loki is coming soon. I can't wait for that. I really love the way that Marvel has done this, where they do the witchcraft and the wizardry and the craziness with WandaVision leading into Multiverse of Madness. We have Falcon and the Winter Soldier leading into the next Captain America movie, as well as they referenced, I think, some things about, just the general world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Earth in that, which I can't remember which Earth that Earth is, but one way or another, they're also, Venom is coming soon and Carnage is going to be in that. We know that because they've been working with Spider-Man, doing it with the way that they've been doing it, where Far From Home, or No Way Home, whatever it is an official Marvel movie, like all those Spider-Man movies are. I think that it's not going to be, that hard to introduce Spider-Man into that universe, because it's a little grittier, whatever. It doesn't have the exact same visual, whatever. But Tom Hardy is Venom, Woody Harrelson is Carnage, which that trailer just dropped. I'm gonna have to check that out. Just that already is so fucking good. I can't wait to see what they do with that. I'm also very much looking forward to just how they flesh out the next phases. We got the Eternals coming up. We've got Thor, Love and Thunder, which Natalie Portman is going to become the female Thor, which that was a thing for a while. You know what I mean? Chris Hemsworth, he's one of the only heroes that really, in a sense, is extending beyond Endgame in that way, where he was a banner headline hero to begin with. Ain't making no more Iron Man movies, that's for fucking sure. Trying to think, they might make a Hulk movie eventually, but the fact that they turned Planet Hulk into Ragnarok, it makes me really fucking sad, because when I finally watched Planet Hulk, I watched it late. I just looked at that, and you know what? Not for nothing. I'm glad that I watched it after, because if I had seen that before and then went into Ragnarok watching that, I would not have had the same experience. I would not have enjoyed it. Like, I would have been, oh man, this movie is cool, but fucking, we could have had Planet Hulk and we get this. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been super stoked on that. So it was kind of similar in the way where I saw the Dark Tower movie and I kind of enjoyed it. It was okay. But then listened to, because read is obviously what I meant to say there, but audiobooks, I have the series of the Dark Tower, all of them. And I'm so glad that I saw that movie before I read the books, listened to the books, because the movie had nothing to do with the fucking books. Like, realistically, they took the first book and the last book and literally sandwiched everything together so hard that things like Susanna and Eddie Dean and fucking, like, Mordred and the Wastelands and the train and all these things cut out. And it was just really, like, I'm really glad that I was not privy to what the actual story was when I watched that movie, because I'd have been real upset. I mean, Roland Deschain is definitely a fucking superhero. There's no question about that. Fucking time-dimensional traveler. Supposedly he can walk into this world. Stephen King was in the Dark Tower at one point. You know what I mean? They talk about his fucking car crash and shit. Or he wrote about it himself. I always thought that it was funny that Stephen King and J.K. Rowling used to have this huge respect for each other. They might even still, but had this huge respect for each other, where I can't remember exactly what the reference that J.K. Rowling made in Harry Potter to Stephen King stuff. There was something, but I can't remember what. It might have even just been in the extended lore. But Stephen King, there were literally golden snitches that were like, they were killer weapons in the Dark Tower series, but they were literally like, it was like JKHP something something, that was like the serial numbers on it. And it was just like, I remember hearing about that before I read the Dark Tower, and then when I went through it, it was like, oh, I mean, that's a cool little, that's nice, I guess, but I don't know, it seems tacked on. Like, you just liked each other, so it was like, oh, let's help sell each other's books. Which, I don't know how Stephen King feels about that now that Stephen King is so outwardly Trump hating, which I can kind of respect, because I dislike Trump more than I like him, much more. But Stephen King, even now that Trump's out of office, he's still going at him, and it just, like, I don't know, it seems odd. But that's, neither here nor there. Something that I was talking about before, and I know I go off on tangents. If you're going to become a fan of this podcast, that's pretty much who I am, tangent man. But talking about Black Widow being one of the Avengers, I think it's just interesting the way that they... Oh, that was my message tone. I just think it's interesting the way that they had done these things, where they were able to make Scarlett Johansson and Black Widow a central, massive character, so much so that she died in Endgame. Spoiler alert, I guess it's been out for years now. She died in Endgame. And they're still bringing a movie out about her, talking about what she did before then. And just, like, she's still that good of a character. I mean, is it the fact that Scarlett Johansson is just that good of an actress? Or is it the fact that, like, they were able to frame her in such a way that her death rocked the fucking MCU? Like, I can't lie, I cried at that moment. That shit was heavy. Like, you watch this character ever since she, put, what's his name, Jon Favreau's character in Iron Man, put him in an armbar in the fucking ring. And from that moment until she fucking gets knocked off she's at Exegol. No, is that what it was? Wherever the Soul Stone was. From the moment when she sacrifices herself off the cliff, it was her character was so well done. And that's what I love about the MCU, is the fact that they have the ability to make good movies out of superhero shit, when there was a time where a good superhero movie was just, that's crazy. How could you even do that? Or a good superhero movie was just the fact that it was a good superhero movie. Movies that the MCU makes are just good movies that happen to be superhero movies. WandaVision was an amazing dramatic series that happens to be about superhero shit. I just love the way that they're doing it. I very much want to be involved. I want to get involved in acting, but I don't know how. I'm going to have Killer T, Tier Diaz, on the show one of these days, and we're going to have a good long conversation about that, because I know that he could help me kind of move into that direction, and I know for a fact I'm a good actor. The only reason I didn't get a good grade in my acting class when I took it in Hudson County Community College is because I didn't do the fucking homework on time. As far as acting and actually being able to portray, understanding what acting is supposed to be, we talked about Stanislavski and stuff like that. It's just, I think that I am good. I just don't know how to get out there. So I want to talk to him about that, and we can have a discussion about that. But I will also say, and we'll save this actual breakdown for another time, because the idea of talking about Marvel versus DC is such a long conversation, and I also need somebody to have the conversation with, because I'm pro Marvel. I love DC, but I love Marvel better. Marvel and the MCU specifically. I have no shame in saying that I used to be a Batman mark forever. I was always a huge Batman fan, even during like the Val Kilmer, George Clooney, campy ass fucking those movies. You know what I mean? Like, I still was getting down. And the Christopher Nolan movies, some of the best movies I've ever seen. I loved them. But overall, I mean, the Infinity Saga. And the sad part about this, and we can talk about this another time, is the fact that the only real answer that DC has at this point to the MCU to really be able to do it like that is the Snyderverse, and they're not going to do it, as far as I've seen. It's just fucking depressing. Like, that is going to be for sure what gets DC. Like, I'm looking right here, I have this cup. It's a Wonder Woman 84 cup that when we went to go see Godzilla vs. King Kong in the theater, they fucking gave us that. And it's like, you really ain't got no Godzilla vs. King Kong cups, really? You just got to get rid of this shit from Wonder Woman 84, which Wonder Woman 84 makes no sense to me, because the first Wonder Woman movie is one of the best comic movies ever made. I don't even care that the dude that they used for Ares made no sense in that character. I get what they were trying to do, and it was effective in the narrative sense, but like, come the fuck on. This guy, you're going to make fucking Lupin Ares? Come on. That don't make no fucking sense. He's an amazing actor. I love all of his work. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he's a good actor. He's amazing. For Ares, it seemed like an odd choice. You're going to have to CGI the fuck out of this guy to make him look like an action hero character. I mean, he's a villain, but you know what I mean. But so, no, I am going to actually cut the superhero segment right here, because obviously I don't want to go on for fucking ever and ever. But, we are going to have another one of these. This is going to be, a common segment, I think. So, we will keep it moving. I think I might have one more segment that I was thinking about fleshing out, so we'll give that a shot. And, thank you for checking out the Superhero Steez. We're definitely going to be talking about this a lot, and talking about a lot of different stuff, because, they're always putting new movies out, always, video games coming out, so always crazy stuff to go into. Let's fucking keep it moving. Hello, and welcome to Sick Hop Happenings. This is going to be basically an update period for, what does Madd Maxxx have going on right now? What am I up to? What am I doing? For those of you that are interested. Those of you that aren't, it won't be terribly long. You can just skip through it. I won't feel bad about it. But it's not even going to really be that long, because there's not a ton to go into. I have been so busy with school, the last couple of years on top of the pandemic, and my divorce, frankly, that it's just been a lot. And getting stuff done, getting things finished as far as music is concerned, have been I found it to be a bit of a challenge. I had this equipment to record on for the longest time, and I just never did anything with it, because it felt like, I don't know. I just felt like it didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I could focus on it. I didn't think I was going to get a good result. Just a lot of anxiety bullshit that really doesn't really mean anything. It was just what I did. And so it's like, at this point, I'm trying to, I'm finished with school this Thursday. God willing, knock on wood, as long as I pass all my finals, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to, and I do well enough on them, then I pass the classes, I pass the program. I still am going to have to pass the practice board so that I can get authorization to take the actual board exam, so that I can actually be certified to be a funeral director. The difference is that even after I do that, I still have to be an apprentice for 2 years. But I may, depending on how it goes, if I can make something happen, I am going to maybe just get a funeral job for a couple of years, get my, become a director, be on point with that, and, legit be done, and then just do something else. But I also might just use the degree to do other stuff. I don't really care about being in the funeral industry. So point being, though, now that I'm going to be done with it officially, I'm going to be able to start focusing more time on, like, music and the podcast, and trying to, like I said in another part, I want to get into acting, all these different things. I have more time now, and I have a degree where I can go and get a job consistently that is going to be better than the jobs I had in the past. And it's a funny thing, because right now I can't actually have a job. I have to be home for my kids, and so because of that, it makes things very difficult as far as, I have to be on unemployment. I have to, rely on assistance in some things, which is, unfortunate. But now that I have a degree, it's going to make it a lot easier for me to get into a position where I can make the amount of money that is necessary to continue doing what I'm doing. And that was an issue in the past. So now I am in a position where things are moving forward. It's very tricky. It's a very tricky situation where, you're working, and then you have this thing on the side that you want to be able to dedicate time to, but it costs money and, resource, and you can't put that out without, feeling it in some other area. For every credit, there has to be a debit. So it's definitely been tricky, but I've been working on this album since last year, Kaleidoscope. I've been working on it, and it's the lyrics themselves, I think, are solid. The beats, I think, are solid. I think it's a great project, personally. A very classic Madd Maxxx project. And I named it because I can remember from when I started years ago, I think it was Will Pope from Seventh Seal Entertainment. He wrote up a little bio about me, and he said something about a kaleidoscope of horror and hip-hop, or something like that. And I always loved that parallel. I love the idea of a kaleidoscope being, all that it's doing, technically speaking, is just adjusting your view. It makes your view look different. You just see the same thing that's already out there, but you see it differently. And that's always what I've tried to do with music, is show you the world as it is, but in a different light, so you can see it differently. And a lot of times it can be distorted, it can be crazy, it can be weird. So that's definitely what I'm going for. There's a lot of reality, a lot of sadness, a lot of fucking feeling in this album. And if you listen to Dead Leaves, I started writing Kaleidoscope not long after Dead Leaves was done, and I started writing Kaleidoscope pretty much right as the pandemic began, because that was when I was home, I was stuck with everything, and basically my ex had left, and things had fully deteriorated to a point where they were just done, and that was very hard to deal with for me, and so I started writing, and again, I've made some good stuff. I think that it definitely is strong material. I think that my fans are going to appreciate it, and I think that for anybody dealing with family, dealing with heartbreak, single parents, people that have lost someone from death, there's a lot of relatable stuff on here, and I haven't really worked that hard on it as far as the recording, because like I said, I had a lot of anxiety about making sure that my stuff was on point, making sure that it was going to be good. And I don't know. I had too much anxiety mixed in with school, and I got to take care of my kids, and it's mostly me. My ex obviously does see the kids, but it's mostly me at home with them. So, that has been a thing. One way or another, Kaleidoscope is for sure coming this summer. It's just going to be, I don't know exactly when. I'm probably, maybe I'll announce it in the next episode, and that will give you more incentive to listen to it. But outside of that, there's Hip Hop Zombies Ate My Neighbors. HipHopZombies.com, obviously, you guys have been probably getting linked there you're getting linked to these episodes from there, different things. I think that HipHopZombies.com it has a lot of potential. I think that you guys are going to see a resurgence in some of the local fervor that used to exist out here. Oh, there's my phone making noise again. I'm gonna have to remember to put this on silent. Like, you're just gonna have to, like, take my word on it. Like, the way that it used to be out here in Massachusetts was very, very, people were so into it, so down. There were so many people who are still around, people who have died, who walked and carried these things, like underground sound. That's another part of this. Like, people walked around proudly. This is my shit. This is who I represent. This is what I am. And I think that with what me and Reverend Television are doing, I really think that it has a possibility to recapture some of that feeling that we had back then, because we're all older now. A lot of us grew up. Some of us more than others, but we all grew up, and now we all have different lives and different responsibilities. A lot of us have kids. But even with that, we still have this desire to just get fucking ragged down and go crazy and do ridiculous shit and go and, play a show and fucking strip down to your fucking boxers and just rap in front of everybody and not care what it looks like and not care if people are looking at you like, oh, he's fucking fat, or oh, he looks gross. Fuck that shit. I'm out there doing my goddamn thing, and you want to know what? I don't give a fuck what you think about. You're still watching me. You ain't walked out yet. You're obviously captivated. And I really do think that by the way, the boxers thing was definitely more of a Weird Die Young thing. I have yet to do that. I want to lose more weight. That said, again, just hiphopzombies.com is really going to, I think, like I said, it really is going to recapture what we have been missing out here in New England as far as the underground goes. Because, there's always a rap presence out here. Boston has a rap scene, of course. But they've never let us be a part of it, regardless of how hard we work on it, in it, and around it. And just what we do is very subversive. It's very different. It's not the kind of shit that necessarily has quite the mainstream place. But that's also why I'm trying to get into what I'm doing with Hip Hop Zombies, because I just think that the people like us deserve representation. People who love hip-hop and love horror movies. People who are into wicked underground music, like Juggalo shit, or like Technicians, or, like people that listen to shit like R.A. the Rugged Man. Because R.A. is real dope, but I don't know how much, like, current mass appeal he's got. I don't watch his numbers, but I also know that he's got a pretty solid following from the many years he's been doing shit. But it's like, he did something recently where he covered Lil Nas X's shit, Montero. And it got a good fucking pop. People liked it, because R.A. don't give a fuck if you think he's gay. He doesn't care. I'm pretty sure he used to do shit where he would jerk off on fucking people on the balcony below him. Like, when he was at shows and shit. Like, he was fucking crazy. Kicking people in the face and shit. It's so funny, because I've seen people go back and forth. Like, I've seen on one side, bro, Rugged Man was at a show and he kicked me in the chest. It was amazing. And there were other people that are like, dude, I was at a Rugged Man show and this fucking dude he fucking kicked me in the chest. What the fuck is that about? Like, it's really funny seeing both sides, where some people get it and some people are like, what the fuck am I doing? What is this? Like, good thing you never fucking saw Gigi Allen live. But I really, hiphopzombies.com and Kaleidoscope are the only two major things going on as far as, like, what I'm creating. We have these two shows, Hip Hop Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Those are going to be happening in July. That's going to be July 23rd and 24th. So definitely be sure to check that out. It's going to be the 23rd in Parma, Ohio at Shadows. And then the 24th in New Haven, Indiana at the infamous Carl's Tavern. Really looking forward to these shows. It's going to be a lot of fun. Still fleshing out some of the bill as far as who's going to be in it. But I can tell you Cody Manson is going to be involved in one or both of the shows, at least the Ohio show. I believe both. We just need to discuss it. And then the 24th, Nasty is going to be there. I know that for sure. And again, like I said, Grimm is going to be there. Keegan Hamel, Grimm, he's going to be there for the Carl's show. Really looking forward to that. There's also, I'm going to be doing a show in Cincinnati on July 23rd or 24th. I'll take a look and confirm that. But that's going to be, I believe, on Cody Manson's tour. So, yeah. Now, I got to check everything out. Like I said, I've been in school, man. I haven't really been thinking that much about what I got to do music-wise. I try to keep involved as much as I can to make sure things keep moving. But it's just been so much going on. So, we'll cut this for now. And I am going to end this here. We're going to close out with the homies for a minute. Like I said, they're going to pop back in. And we'll finish up for now. But we also, like I said, got the next episode, episode 5, coming. Literally, you can download it or listen to it right now because they're coming out at the exact same time today. Again, I apologize that I was not able to get things done on time. So, much love. Let's close this out. All right, well, that is the show. Thank y'all very much for spending your time with me. I very much appreciate that you would take the time out of your busy day, or maybe it's not fucking busy, but you still took the time to listen, so I do appreciate that. Don't forget to check out hiphopzombies.com. That's hiphopzombies.com. Holy shit, that's going to be a fucking lyric soon. hiphopzombies. I just did it a second ago. I don't have it now. I'm going to get it. But it's in there. There's a lot of E sounds in that fucking spelling. I'm going to do that shit.
Yeah, you can check out Something's Gotta Give, the new single that's fucking yours truly, Reverend Television, Madd Maxxx, produced by Stir Crazy. That shit's on Spotify, iTunes, all digital outlets, and you can also purchase it and support your boy at Bandcamp/Reverend Television.
Yes, sir. It's very I don't know if ubiquitous is the right word, but just a very common topic. We've talked about QAnon type stuff a lot. We were talking about that earlier with the barbershop. I thought that was kind of crazy, and just how QAnon stuff is becoming so well known and common. Whereas when we were young, it was so fringe to be involved with any of that kind of stuff. But now it's wide out in the open. Okay. But speaking of wide out in the open, we're going to be getting wide out in the open in Ohio and then out in Indiana for Hip Hop Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That's going to be a fantastic show, a little show series. We're going to be doing 2 days in a row. It's going to be myself as well as Reverend Television here. It's also going to be Cody Manson from Lyrical Snuff Productions. The homie Nasty, he's going to be doing at least one date, if not both. I got to talk to him about it. Several others have been talking about it. Split Face. Oh yeah, for sure. Split Face is going to be there. And then he'll be at Carl's. I don't think he would be in Ohio. Definitely some others we've been talking to. Ritual of Ether and Diabolic the Monster have been talking about doing something. So probably going to see what they have going on there. A couple other people I've been talking to, people that are going to be around the area. So, we're getting everything, laced up and figured out, making sure that's all dope. We got the new shirts. We got the pins. Klaus, the hip-hop zombie homie. Your undead hip-hop homie. Fucking real nice shit.
Buttons, stickers, T-shirts. We got more.
Oh, yeah, the stickers are great, man. I really love the Melt Man with the fucking, mosaic, kind of. Yeah. I really like that one a lot.
It might become a T-shirt.
Yeah, no, true indeed. I think that if we could do that one, kind of subtle, but maybe, I don't know, we'd have to check it out. But, no, we got that going on, and then we obviously have Kaleidoscope coming out this summer. You're going to have to listen to the next episode if you want to get the actual date, because that's when I'm going to release it. But I will say that it is definitely coming this summer, 100%. It's getting done. It's going to be getting mixed by Saint Cinna of Mission Infect / the Bio Killers. Very much looking forward to that. There's also a collaborative project coming soon, but we ain't even really going to talk about that because that's still just, I just got there's just a skeleton. Have you ever read Watchmen?
Yeah.
You remember how when Dr. Manhattan is kind of reconfiguring himself?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just
the nervous
I'm just a
system
screaming
floating.
just a screaming torso in the fucking mess hall right now. But pretty soon it's gonna be Dr. Manhattan, and then you're gonna have Silk Spectre and fucking comedian, and then you're gonna have Rorschach. No, of course. It's so funny to me. Rorschach was such a great character, but Haley Earl. I always confuse his name with Haley Joel Osment, but that's not him. But the guy who plays Rorschach. Yeah, exactly. That guy too. He was that same guy. He's a great actor, but those are the only two things I know him from.
Yeah,
and he's definitely
him in a goddamn role.
Oh, I know, right?
What time is it? Yeah, we gotta be
out. We're gonna get going, man.
Out.
All right, peace. Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Here's the Thing, episode 5. Today is going to be done differently. I'm not going to be doing any of the segments that I started on episode 4 because today is kind of a bonus episode anyhow, and I'm really only doing it because I said I was going to release 2 at the same time on Wednesday, and now it's fucking Friday. So it's been my finals week, man. I've had a lot going on. It's been very hectic. That said, though, unless my accounting teacher decides to be a prick and fail me, I don't think that's going to happen. Or unless something else that I have not calculated comes up, then I will have finished my associate's program for funeral service at Cape Cod Community College by way of Bridgewater State University. And so, yeah, I have an associate's degree now in funeral service. And that's fucking crazy. I can't believe that 2 years ago, roughly, I started in the fall, obviously, but it's crazy. That long ago, I started doing something like this, and just the fact that I made it all the way through, Like, I'm not even that stoked about being in the funeral industry for a lot of different reasons, actually. It's very complicated. I could spend hours talking just about the funeral industry now, knowing as much about it as I do. It's kind of like the funeral industry is very, very important, but it is also very, very eccentric and specific. The way that things are done in the industry are very traditional. People, they just want to keep things the way they've always been. Like, the idea of having tattoos and piercings in a funeral job is only recently started to become acceptable for the most part. Very, very traditional industry. Which is odd considering I'm finding my way into it, and I'm not conventional. But also that, like, most of the people you would think that would be interested in this kind of stuff, that would be willing to do it, are going to be weird types. Which that's been a thing. Where, like, it's super ironic to me. My ex is, like, just this super, like, if you think of a goth chick, basically, she is exactly black hair, glasses, tattoos, fucking black clothes, works at a funeral home, for fuck's sake. And it turns out there's a lot of fucking chicks like that now. Like, a lot of fucking people, like a lot of, goth girls are like, oh, I'm going to go into school for funeral service. Well, I hope you're fucking smart, because it's not just about being interested by fucking morbid shit. You have to understand things like pathology and microbiology and fucking human anatomy, statistics. Like, you need to actually be intelligent to do this shit. And it really is funny to me that people are like, oh, I like scary stuff, I'm gonna go. Yeah, you know what, not for nothing, but what you think is scary, that ain't shit. Like, just what fat tissue looks like on the inside. Like, when you have to make it, when you're embalming, you have to make a transverse incision, which is, just the side, like a straight cut, right above the right nipple, like not right above, but a little bit above, kind of under the shoulder, so you can get through to the carotid artery. Because the carotid artery is most often what you're going to embalm through. It has the widest, I'm forgetting, the lumen is the wrong word. This is lumina, the tunica media. I'm messing that up right now. I'll look that up. But it has a wider berth, so it's easier to get the cannula into it so that you can actually inject the arterial fluid. And it's also, it goes right near the heart. it's able to, you're able to basically get really good distribution in most cases throughout the entire body by injecting through that artery. Now, with that being said, a lot of the times when you make that cut, people are fat. People are big nowadays. It's a pretty common thing. And I saw more of this than I saw less of it, is when you make that cut, just these little yellow discs almost, because that's what adipose tissue looks like. That's what fat is. Adipose is fat. It's just the way that it looks, and on the inside, it's like, that's fucking gross, man. And it also, to me, helps me understand why burning fat is so difficult, because like these, oily tissues, like, how are you breaking that down in your body? I mean, water, really, because water is the universal solvent, but like, it's just, the idea of these things is just very, very, like, it's very complex. And to me, I think that part of it should have more emphasis than the fact that, we get to be around dead people all the time. Like, if there's one thing that I have noticed about people in the death industry, it is that most of your time is spent dealing with the living or mitigating the living. The actual embalmings, sometimes they can be tricky, but that's the easy part, quite frankly. Because the embalming, that body ain't going nowhere, it ain't doing nothing, it ain't gonna say nothing to you. All that it's gonna do is continue to decompose and continue to, the conditions of which it's, whatever it's doing, it's gonna keep happening, basically. So it's gonna continue to decompose, it's gonna continue to decay, skin will continue to loosen, blood will continue to coagulate, so forth, so on. It's just like, you can mitigate all that. You know what I'm saying? If you can get Edemico. If they have edema, you can get Metaflow. If they have, if they're, coagulating. Metaflow is a anticoagulant arterial fluid, or it's an arterial fluid that has anticoagulant in it. Restorative is, Edemico is that's the for when you have edema, which edema, that's swelling, water swelling. So that being the case, it's like, there's always things you can do. There's always things that you can deal with. People, on the other hand, are fucking ridiculous. Like, I was just told about a situation where, so this family, they haven't seen the rest of their family in 20-something years. They haven't seen their mother in 30 or 40. Who knows? Like, long fucking time. Never involved with anything. But then they find out that their loved one died and they had a will. So they're like, oh, well, we got to go see what's going on with that. So they go and see their family for the first time in however many fucking years, demand to be part of the arrangements. And then when it turns out they got nothing, they're not entitled to anything, they piece the fuck out. Like, y'all would be shocked to find out how often stuff like that happens. And not with, like, ratchet-ass families either. Because, yeah, it happens that way, but you would be amazed how many rich, quote-unquote, well-to-do, like, nice families are fucking vicious, disgusting people behind closed doors. It's crazy. Now, I mean, the things that I hear people say are crazy, too, generally speaking. Because I don't feel like fucking with this person specifically, I'm not going to say exactly who it was right now. Maybe eventually I will. But I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and their basic fucking, what they had to say about me being, like, making music and shit was like, I know you've, like, You've helped people, like, they're junkies that you've helped get clean a little, and, people that were going to kill themselves, and you helped them, like, not commit suicide. But, like, what have you, like, done? You don't make any money. Seriously, fuck you. Number one, the person who said that, fuck you if you happen to hear this. I don't think you will, because you have no fucking interest in what I do, generally speaking, and you do as much as you can to be separated from me. But, yeah, fuck you for that. That's fucking reprehensible, and it disgusts me that it came out of somebody's mouth. That, oh yeah, I know you save people from suicide, but, when are you gonna make more money? Fuck you in the most egregious fashion possible. Holy shit. Like, that is exactly why I do this. Exactly why I do this. Money will eventually come. I don't stress about that. That's why I went into fucking school, to make sure that I could have a job, or have a degree, have skills, so that I can make sure that my family is taken care of. But to think that I haven't done anything real, or to think that I haven't made any actual, tangible contribution to the world, to society, or even to my own social circles,
for the fact that I helped people not kill themselves? Holy shit. That's what I'm talking about, man. And the person who said this, you'd meet them and you'd think that they were fucking cool. They're just normal. Ah, that's a cool person, you know what I mean? They're cool. That doesn't look like a disgusting, reprehensible person who has a disgusting, reprehensible opinion. That's the fucked up part about the world is, man, is that people know how to hide their shit. They know how to hide their shit until things get serious and until until you actually have to fucking defend what you said. And then when somebody who actually has a fucking brain starts to debate you, that's when things get fucked up. And that's when you don't want to have to fucking talk no more. That's when, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. Yeah, I know, because you were losing it. And it's not even about who wins or loses a conversation. But there is definitely truth to the idea of when you're having a conversation or an argument, so to speak, that there's one person who is making a better point than the other. Like, it blows my fucking mind that people can act like they're compassionate, act like they're loving, act like they give a fuck about other people. But as soon as things get tricky, and as soon as the rubber actually hits the road, fuck all of you. I will take care of myself, and I don't care what fucking happens to none of you. That's how way too many people feel. And I'm so over it. I'm so done with it. I'm so sick of dealing with people that are just fucking gross, man. Like, it really makes me sad because so often these people are people that you really cared about. People that you, like, got close to, and there were things about them that you really liked. Things about them that really made you feel good. Things that they did that made you feel really good. And you were just like, I really enjoy this person. I like being around them. But then as time goes by, the person who they really are starts to creep out. And it's like, you want to just ignore it. You want to be like, nah, that's not really them. They're having a bad day. Or something's going on. Or I don't know what it is, but there's something happening. It's like, nobody ever wants to ever admit, like, no, that's just a shitty person. But you know what the actual bigger problem is that people don't want to admit, I judged them wrong. Nobody wants to have to say, I was wrong about this person. I thought I knew them and I don't. Because it hurts. It not only does it hurt, but it makes you look foolish. Like, we all can see it, couldn't you? Oh yeah, you can see it now, can't you? Hindsight 2020. That must be fucking. Must be nice. Like, it's just. I'm sorry. I'm just so incensed by the fact that somebody could fucking say to me, I know you've helped people stop committing. I know you've stopped people from committing suicide, but what have you actually done? Like, that fucking blows my mind in a way that I cannot even, like. I wonder how the people that I have helped, I wonder how they would feel if they knew that this person said that. Like, so that person's life has no value. Oh, I mean, it's not like I meant that. I just mean, like, you have a family. You should be, whatever, making money. Fuck you. Holy shit. Oh my God. I could talk for another 2 hours about how much it really, really upsets me that somebody who knows what I do, has been close to what I do for a long time, and is aware of what I care about in making music, would actually say to me, what have you actually done? Like, it's getting tiring. It's getting tired. Like, congratulations. You helped junkies and you saved people from committing suicide. When are you gonna make some money? Ugh. Makes me fucking sick to my stomach. And that's my point, man, is that y'all, not y'all specifically, but so many people out there spend so much time worried about whether or not people like them, worried about whether or not, does this person like me? Does this girl think I'm cool? That girl could literally be a scumfuck piece of shit. But because she looks nice and she's got some nice tits, you don't give a fuck about that? Like, that's one thing that I've noticed lately about fucking, because I'm on Twitter right now. I got kicked off of Facebook for another 30 days. And Twitter is the Wild West. It's fucking crazy on there. People promote pornography openly on their timeline. Like, literally, tits, pussy, dick out on the timeline. And whatever, I don't care. I'm into that shit. I follow a ton of these people. But one of the things that I've noticed is that just so many of these people, it's like, number one, 9 times out of 10, if they're good at what they do or they're smart about it, you don't really know who this person actually is. You get little insights into it, like, maybe like cosplay, like video games, movies, certain aesthetics. Maybe they're sexually explicit, maybe they're not. But generally speaking, if you're smart, you're not giving people inside information so they know who you actually are. So that if ever they were to walk up to you and, like, see you on the street somehow because you are a public figure, they wouldn't be able to fuck with your head. Like, with me, I know so many people, I've met so many people, that if you had the right information, you walked up to me and was like, oh, I met you here, met you there, whatever, I'm not going to be able to verify you. I don't know that for sure. I'll have my own thoughts of like, I don't think I know this person, but you would be able to definitely get close enough to me just by telling me about certain shows that I've played and telling me that you were there. I can't fucking verify that. So, like, just the whole idea here is, like, so many fucking people, they're pretty, or they have cool opinions, or they took good pictures, or their statuses are funny, or fucking whatever. And you're going to be like, oh, I like that person. I want that person in my life. That's why they always say the grass is always greener, man. Because as soon as you get close enough to that person, like, a lot of the time you're going to end up finding out there were things in there that you never could have expected, and that you're like, you have to basically decide on the fly, is this a deal breaker? Because some people, dude, like, I don't know, man. I'm not perfect. I got fucked up problems, man. I definitely have, like, issues with being too open. I talk too much. I can be very emotional. I'm hypersexual. I have no interest in romance anymore. Like, that's actually not true. I have a massive interest in romance. I have no interest in monogamy. So, like, that like, things like this, it's tricky, man. It really is not, like, something that you can just do. It's like, I don't even know. My phone started ringing, so I kind of got off track there. My point here is that just, like, I know I got problems. I know there's shit wrong with me. I have never tried to behave as though I have the ability or the right to be like, I know what to do, so you should listen to me. I do, however, feel like I have a pretty good idea on a lot of things, and I am also absolutely willing to say, this is what I think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? You know what I mean? All I'm saying is that, like, there's so many people out there, especially people on social media, like, y'all, I swear to God, you would not believe me if I told you how many arguments and fights I got into in the course of my marriage over the years over me not having actually done anything. And believe me, there were fights, plenty that happened because of shit that I did do. But the amount of arguments that we would have because my ex was set off because she saw somebody who she follows on Instagram, you know, like, consciously. It's not like it was an accident. It's not like anybody forced her. She chose to follow this person on Instagram, looked at her pictures, started feeling shitty about herself, and then basically made it my fault, like, why don't I feel pretty? Somehow this is your fault. Now, I'm generalizing here. It obviously was more complicated than that. But y'all, like, that's what I'm saying. You wouldn't fucking believe how many people, and I bet that this is a super common thing. Any men, if you're listening to this and that's something that you deal with, A, I feel for you, and B, unless you're able to have a legitimate conversation with your partner about this, and when they do it and you can talk to them about it, they actually have a level of understanding, fucking run. Because that shit's not going to get better. They will always not feel good enough, because no matter how much you do to show them that you are caring, that you do care about them, that they are number one to you, nothing's ever going to matter. It's not going to make a difference. And you know, another part of this that's really confusing is nowadays, like, being bisexual is more, like, trendy and cool now. Like, it's a hip thing to do. And it's aggravating to me because when I get into a relationship, and this goes back to when I originally met my ex, and it sucks because this ended up always being a huge fucking problem because she decided to change her mind down the road. But I always will make it very clear to any woman that wants to think about dating me, I'm gonna want another chick in the bed eventually. That's gonna happen. Like, it's not that you're not enough. It's about the fact that you don't have two heads, and you don't have two vaginas, you don't have two bodies. So you can't suck my dick and lick my balls at the same time. That's it. No woman can do that. No one woman can do that. So at that point, it's not about you. If they can make a fucking, like, cyborg or whatever that looks like a human, that can perform like a human, that feels physically like a human body, I'll never fucking ask for another chick again. I won't need it. I'll be able to get that other one to do the fucking side work and do the supplementary whatever. But, like, the point here is just that so many fucking people have this, like, oh, this is who I am out on front in either social media or when you see them out socially. You know, like in public at shows and shit. Whenever that starts happening again. Like, so many of these people have this fucking false, like, storefront, but we got the mafia business in the back. Like, it's just not real. There's no reality to it. It's really upsetting to me that
in today's alt culture, where things like being a juggalo, being a raver, being a goth, being a gamer, any of that shit, now it's a big thing. Like, it's a much more, you are, like, not a weirdo. Now you're just part of another group, like the jocks or the nerds or the whatever. And I mean, the nerds, that was back in the 90s was a problem. Nowadays, we all have cell phones. Nerds run the earth. So, at that point, who's to fucking say really anything bad about nerds? It's just, you know, the way that things have been going over the last couple years, it just got crazy, man. And the thing is, I'm not sitting here trying to trash my ex at all. Like, I'm not trying to, like, use this as a platform to be negative about her. I am definitely upset about the way she left me, and I'm upset about the fact that I got my heart broken, but it is what it is. Like, sometimes with relationships, you can't force somebody to love you. You just can't. It just can't happen. But at the same time, there is something to be said about, like, when you say to somebody, I never loved you, or, you know, I was just faking it for all those years. Like, you do realize that makes you a piece of shit, right? Like, it's not like anyone's looking at you like, oh my God, that's such a shame that you were in such a terrible situation and you had to do what you had to do. No, fuck you. What the fuck are you talking about? No. No. You could have easily said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore, and dip the fuck out. There's no reason you can't. But too many people are fucking scared. So they'd rather not do it in the moment where they're feeling it. But then as the time goes by and something fucking pushes them and then just forces them to have that reaction, now it's something crazy. Could have been prevented, no problem whatsoever. But nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings up front, so they'd rather just wait for things to get fucking drastic, and then it's like, oh, well, everybody's feelings are hurt, so who cares who got hurt this time? It's fucking dumb. Like, I don't know, man. It's just, I'm never going to stop making music, and apparently it's a fucking problem to some people. Like, I'm never going to stop doing this. I don't care if I can only release an album every 5 years. It's practically what I fucking do already anyway. And I don't care if I can't fucking do shows all the time. I'm always going to make music. I'm always going to be out there. I'm always going to put my opinion out there. I'm always going to be a juggalo. I don't care what the fuck happens with ICP at this point. I love ICP. I'm going to come see them the next time they come to town. But you want to know what? I'm not that interested in what they do going forward. Because I love the community. I love the feeling. I love being a juggalo. I love my juggalos. I love my people. But ICP's music, I haven't really paid attention in a long time. I listen to every album that comes out because as a juggalo, I feel like it's my obligation. I feel like I owe it to them for giving me this community and this lifestyle that I love very dearly. So I feel like I do owe it to them to at least listen to every album that they put out. Yum Yum's Lure, I don't listen to the stuff coming up. I haven't listened to Yum Yum's Lure. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. When the album comes out, I will listen to it. But as of now, it's whatever. I just, being a juggalo is good enough for me. And I'm never going to stop. And that was definitely another thing that caused major issues in the relationship, is that my ex was a juggalette, I guess. And as the years went by, she decided that she had too much morals for that. Basically, like, oh, I'm too good for that. Most of these juggalos are gross. They don't take care of their kids. They just spend all their time doing drugs, getting high and shit. And it's like, all right, you know what? Fine. There's truth to that, for sure. But at the end of the day, I don't look at it where the bad people create the entirety. Because here's the fucked up part. People will say that about juggalos, no problem. Oh, a few of those juggalos are fucking gross. Fuck those people. Replace juggalos with black people. Does it make less sense now? Does it seem like, oh wow, that actually sounds very hateful and fucked up? But the difference is, we are voluntary. We listen to the music voluntarily. So I guess that makes it okay for you to fucking dehumanize us. Because we're choosing to listen to this music. That's some shit that always killed me. Like, oh, what if gay people don't choose to be gay? Like, that's practically been scientifically proven at this point. Well, let's just fucking say they did. Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares what people choose to do? Why does that matter? It's fucking ridiculous to me. And the other thing is, like, people are so fucking tolerant right up until they're challenged by somebody of that group. Like, I've seen people that will claim they ain't racist a fucking bone in their body. I love black people. I would never be racist.
But let them get fucking robbed by one. It's not like that's all black people. That was just that one guy, one girl, who knows. But soon as that shit happens, you hear N-word this, N-word that, these fucking so-and-sos. Like, you would be fucking amazed. The amount of people where it's like, everything's cool as long as everything's cool. It's funny how that shit goes. Because you know what? We were talking on the last episode about this dude at the barbershop that was doing the QAnon thing. Which, by the way, just in your head, do me a favor. Because I said I went to the barbershop, we're talking about QAnon and all this shit. Just in your head, do you think that guy was black or white? Just think that to yourself for a second. The guy that was going on about QAnon, hardcore, railing against me, actually it was the religious guy that was railing against me, but then the other guy was very QAnon. Do you think they were black or they were white? And I'm not asking this like I expect an answer. It's not a rhetorical question. I genuinely am curious if those details speak black or speak white. Because as it happens, they were both black. It was a black barbershop. But it was just, I just thought it was funny in thinking back about it that if you were to say to somebody, I went to go get my hair cut, one of the barbers started railing on me about Jesus, and then the other one started railing on me about QAnon, I feel like you wouldn't immediately think those people were black. The religious part maybe because, you know, black community is obviously historically very religious. But I don't know. It seemed to me like you would assume that was a white person, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But this is kind of my point. The whole time we were having the conversation, where he was basically being very dismissive. Very like, whatever, man. Whatever. Judgment's coming, bro. You don't know nothing, man. Science is a lie, dog. What do you mean? Science is a lie. See, I bet you think the world is round, too. Like, really condescending and demeaning. But I was never rude to him. I never popped back at him like, oh, really? Really? I'm the fucking dumb one? Even though I have actual evidence behind the shit that I believe, and all you got is a fucking book that you can't even actually say that's what it says because it's been rewritten and retranslated a dozen times. And the King James version is like, oh, that's what you think is the real word of God. Yeah? Is that so? Like, but I didn't talk like that. I just remember saying to him, like, I gotta give it to you, man. It really must be a good way to live just knowing for sure what's going on. Like, just knowing for sure. Because I have no fucking clue. I've learned a lot of different things. I have a lot of different ideas about what's going on, but I have no fucking idea what's going on out there. And that's always my caveat, by the way, is anything I say, always remember I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong in a lot of cases. Excuse me. I do as much as I can to not be wrong. I really try to educate myself on things, but occasionally I fuck it up. The whole point of this tangent, by the way, is that you can disagree with somebody and not be disrespectful. You cannot believe what somebody else believes and not think that they are less for it. And that's been the issue with a lot of people, my ex, like I was saying, like for juggalos and shit, is that people look at us like we're we're subpar citizens, right off rip. If you see somebody wearing an Insane Clown Posse t-shirt, I'd be willing to bet more than likely you look at that person as though they are like trash, like white trash basically. Because Lord knows you don't see too many black juggalos out there. Much love to the homie Les Legs, of course. There's others that I know specifically, but I feel like we're not close enough, so I don't want to call their names out. But Les Legs, that's my fucking love that dude. Yeah, being a juggalo has always given me a perspective on the world that is different from most others. And on that note, actually, I'm going to hit this fucking bong that I've been staring at for a half hour. Just give me a second here. See, I can only take baby rips because if I take a full rip, I'm going to cough for 5 minutes. And then I won't be able to talk to you guys. Maybe I should just start smoking like that in general. Is that the point of smoking a bong, though? Taking a mini rip? That seems pointless. So, like, what else do we got going on right now? I mean, I graduated. Oh, I'm going to Denver. Oh, stretchy. I'm going out to Denver to, well, first of all, talk shop with the homie Cody Manson. We're going to be doing some shows together this summer. So I wanted to lay things out with him, kind of, discuss my position, figure out what we got going on, and more or less making sure that the show goes off without a hitch and that everybody involved enjoys it. And so with that,
On what he's doing out there is the show with Ouija Mac, and then also excuse me, Triple MFD, which I mean it's Denver and it's the Roxy, so I feel like that's a given. But you know, that's my fucking brothers, fucking Scum and Psycho. I love those guys. I can't remember who else is playing the show. I think I've seen Hex Rated is playing the show, which for anybody listening, by the way, I'm not mad at him anymore. That was like crew beef. It was like, I was at that time, I had been wanting to diss somebody for so fucking long that I just was like, fuck it, let's do it. Because it was enough of a reason, number one. I was part of a crew. He openly insulted the crew and openly insulted something that I was a part of, which was the Gathering performance. So he did that. I got the green light from my people at the time. Because again, when you're in a crew and you're going to fucking openly diss somebody, you need to be like, hey, this is going to become a thing where everybody basically is involved. And I'll actually, you know what? I'll break something down in a second that I never openly talked about before. So basically... now that I went on the tangent, I'm thinking about that. I'll just talk about that. So basically, what I was gonna say is, now I remember. If you're gonna talk some shit, basically, your crew is gonna basically get consigned to it. Like that's how that's gonna work. You're going to be assigned to that beef, and what that means is like, here's a good example. Years and years ago, when I was on Murder Music, Legion decided to go with Lex the Hexmaster. Because Lex the Hexmaster, I guess, was trying to holler at his girl, and then something about that, I don't know, it was bad. So he did Salty Panda. And so at that point, I mean, it is what it is. He never responded, obviously, but it was a thing. You know, he heard it. And so there was a show in Rhode Island. And Lex basically approached me at that show like, hey, what's up with all that? And I was like, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I'm on Murder Music, and that's my dude and all, but, like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't know what you... I assumed that I was probably more polite and, like, chill about it at that time, because it was technically the first time I was ever meeting him. But, yeah, that was like I mean, again, I had nothing to do with it. I was just part of the crew that this other dude was a part of that dissed Lex. And then, so Lex basically was like, oh, well, I don't know where he is, but here you are, so what's good? So like I'm saying, if you're going to fucking say something about somebody, you have to basically get a green light from your crew. Like, you have to basically be like, and my whole thing was, I didn't look at it like it was going to mean anything to me, and I mean, in the long run, it didn't, but just, I don't know, because then, what ended up happening after that is that we ran into each other again at Lethal Weekend. I think it was Lethal Weekend 3, maybe 4, I can never fucking remember. And he was drunk as shit. Let's throw that out there. Lex was fucking pissed drunk. And I won't even bother going into the actual verbiage of it because it's not important. But basically, he said some things to me that were kind of like, wait, fucking what? Really? What? Seriously? Wow, man. And the other thing, too, is that I had multiple witnesses for that. Because for a long time, I wasn't even sure it happened that way. Like, I thought back on it, and I was like, wait, did that really fucking happen? Did he really say that to me? And then friends of mine were like, oh yeah, no, I was there. No, that happened, for sure. But I will also say that it has been like discussed at this point. I haven't actually spoken to him personally, but I have spoken to somebody who works very closely with him. The lady who shot the Dead Alive performance, the band one. Her name is Kellyanne Buhold. And sorry if I mispronounced that, Kelly. But she is a photographer of many years, videographer as well. And she's been working with Lex like since the beginning. Like as soon as he got signed, they ended up linking up somehow. And they've been working together a long time. And she was there's no animosity from him. And there's certainly none from me. I'm not angry at the guy at all. I think he sent me a message on Instagram once saying, like after one of those situations, like let's do a song. And we never did. But I also have a thing too where people at that level, like signed artists and shit, I don't send them songs. Because I, expect them to send me back a price immediately, and it's just like, it's not like you ain't worth the money, but why don't you understand what I'm trying to do here? Like, I'm just trying to make music here. I ain't trying to fucking line my pockets with your fans' money. I'm just trying to make a good song. That's it. But the other thing, too, is that just generally speaking, I don't get a response, so I don't fucking, you know what I mean? So I just really don't bother But my whole thing is that there's no animosity between the two of us. It's just like, it's interesting how things can happen where even if you're not directly involved in something, that can frame the way somebody thinks about you for a period of time. And then based on the kind of person they are, they may not even actually try to get to know you after that. It might just be like, oh, well, no, that person's a piece of shit. That's all I fucking need to know about them. So, like, it's weird how things happen that way. Like, the whole underground is so fucking cliquey and, like, weird that that's why I always try to hang back and just fuck with my people that I know genuinely fuck with me. Because outside of that, it's like, which not for nothing, that's part of the reason why I'm actually going out to Colorado 2 months before these shows get done. And I'm fucking meeting up with Cody Manson so that I can actually get a sense of who he is as a person. So that so that I know for sure that this is somebody I want to work with. Now, I will also say, based on everything I've seen about him and everything that I've heard about him from people that I know and respect, he is a solid dude. The other thing that you really need to keep in mind about that is he got signed to LSP. And that, to me, unless you were one of those people from the very, 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 very beginning who has just always been there and always shown loyalty and always been part of it, this applies to you too, but not in the same way. I feel like if you got signed to LSP within like the last, I don't know, let's say 5-6 years, something like that, 5, 6, 7 years. I feel like in most cases, and I could be wrong here because I don't really know any of these people, but you're going to be a fairly solid person. And the only reason I say that is because I know Ivan. I know Scum. I've known him for years now. Like, we met each other the first time outside of, I'm pretty sure, a Twister and an ICP show at the Ogden in Denver when I was living there and going to the Art Institute of Colorado. I will have to look back and figure out exactly what year that was. In any case, I did, number one, it was very interesting knowing that having met him then and knowing that he was just not really like he just showed up like, oh, I'm just a fan and I just want to be here. You could always tell there was something about him. You could always tell that there was something real about this dude. But I guess it's just crazy because it was so many years ago. Because we're at least talking 13, 14 years ago. Probably more than that. But it's just like, Ivan only fucks with the best and he is all business. And I mean that in the sense, by the way, that he is about his business. Like, anybody that's ever gone to a fucking Triple MFD or Scum show knows that as soon as his set's done, or as soon as he, like, feels that things are taken care of and he can relax a little bit, that motherfucker is going to pound Jaeger like it's his job. It is his job. But my point here is that Scum, that I've seen, he only fucks with solid people. And he only fucks with people if he knows it makes sense. Like, people have been saying to me for years, why don't you go work with LSP? Or, I can't believe Scum hasn't signed you, and blah, blah. First of all, I appreciate the notion. Thank you. But the thing that people need to understand about Scum, I guess, is that it's all business for him. That is right there. The Roxy and Scum / Lyrical Snuff Productions, that is how he feeds his children. And he has grandchildren. The man finances his entire life through music. You expect a fucking dude like that to just take risks on shit because the fans think he's cool and this is a cool guy? Like, for me, I'm gonna be completely honest. Working with me as like a viable artist is definitely going to require some work up front, at least in the planning and the whatever. And to me, in some cases, it might be too much work for it to be attractive to people. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think that work would have a payout well above what it would take. But at the same time, there are some people where if you walk up to somebody and say, I got a plan that guaranteed 100% with 0 questions asked will make you $1 million, but you got to give me $100,000 right now. A lot of people are going to be like, you know what, that's awesome, I love you, thank you so much for even giving me this opportunity, but I don't have that money, so thank you, but I can't do it. I love you, I want to see this happen, please keep me in mind if you have anything that you believe would be within my means, but I can't do that. And in certain ways, because I'm not saying anything about numbers, those were all just arbitrary numbers, like, my point is that, like, I've had conversations with Scum before about, like, you know, would you be down? And the reality is that, honestly, I think that
he sees it like I would require too much direct focus for it to really make sense for LSP. Because I could be wrong about this, I want to say that, but I feel like a big thing about what makes LSP so good is that there's a very specific structure that everybody works themselves within. I don't know that that's necessarily true, but like I think that LSP has a framework that everybody has to work within the guidelines of, as opposed to the framework moves and directs the people within it. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but because I feel like a bigger record label is going to be like, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and you're going to put an album out that sounds like this, and we're going to make promo that looks like this, and we're going to do that. I don't know that LSP works like that. I think that it's more along the lines of, this is what basically you should be doing, this is what is expected of you, and this is what you can't do. So we will work with you to make whatever you want to do happen within those guidelines. So again, I feel like I'm making sense here, but what I'm basically breaking down is that I feel like in doing shit on my own, anybody that watches me, I take years to get an album done. I have not yet been able to get it to the point where I'm able to do this like a well-oiled machine. I'm way too artistic and erratic. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to fix that and do things differently, but as of, who I am right now, I'm fairly difficult to manage. So at that point, I think it's like it makes sense as to why it hasn't ever happened that way. However, with that said, we definitely have worked together. Like he's put me on any number of different shows in the past. I'm hoping he puts me on Gorefest again one of these days. But fucking the one time I sent him a song, he was down and he did it. So and this is also one of the things that I love about him is like there have been people where we did a song together. Hey, you want to do it live? Fuck yeah, man, let's do it. Hey, Scum, you want to do this song live? Well, I mean, I do, man, but I need to take some time to actually learn it and make sure that we can do it right on stage, And I love that. Like, the idea of, like, I mean, oh yeah, I'm down if we fucking do it correctly and we actually plan it, and you know what I mean? Like, I really appreciate the idea of being all business within the underground when so many people within the underground are so fucking, like, I don't know, just unprofessional. That's the best way to say it. You want to know what? My mother's calling me again. So I'm going to take a break here and get some water, and I'll be right back to finish out. Maybe we'll even do Get Good or Get Wrecked. I don't know. I'll think about it. And we're back. Yeah, I didn't know if that was recording or not. Yeah, here we are. Got some water, so when my mouth gets dry as shit, it won't be a problem. But we got Mr. 50 Television's coming back in a sec here. I wasn't sure when he was going to come by, so I didn't openly was like, oh, hey, he's going to be on today. But, he's here for a little bit, and we're going to, chop it up. Chop it. Hey, go close the door.
Hey, Foxy, how you doing?
Fox. Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't really discussed the Fox thus far. Fox is my dog.
Oh, word.
There you go. So, yeah, fucking doing the damn thing, man. Don't have too much time. Gonna be heading out to Denver pretty soon.
Man's jet setting.
Little something, little touch. Trying to do things while I do them. So yeah, no, I finished my program. I'm done with school, man.
Nice.
So that was
you're
like
fucking officially a mortician.
Well, no, I officially have a degree in funeral sciences. You don't become a mortician until you actually get the apprenticeship, take your boards, so forth.
Okay.
But I don't even care about that. I have the degree. That's what I'm fucking concerned with.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty excited.
Can I see that light up?
Yeah, there you go.
That's dope, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Oh, man, I swear to God, if I got like a fucking tumor or something, I'm going to be very upset.
You got a tumor?
No, this little mark showed up the other day.
and it's not terribly painful, but it's just weird, and it's kind of getting like a little bit bigger. But I'm also going to the doctor in a minute, so I can ask them about it.
Like I think it looks like 3 little 6s from my estimation.
Yeah, that could definitely. Lily said
Especially
it might be spider bite.
The proximity of
To the no, you're right.
Yeah.
Right next to the fucking logo.
Yeah.
I just remember I gotta change this fucking shirt. Oh, see, this is why I keep saying I can't take fucking real rips when I do this shit, because then I can't fucking talk for like 5 minutes. I get all sweaty and like.
Madd Maxxx has dab sweats from a bong hit.
Because I'm a fat man.
I realized that today when I was practicing for a little bit, and I was like, man, I am fat officially, because I can't even, I don't care if you say visually by volume, by comparison, like, no, I am physically.
Well, that's not,
now.
well, no, it's just, that's out of shape. That's not
Yeah,
the same.
I'm fucking out of shape, dude.
Oh, no, big shape.
That was a big indicator to me. I'm like, I never fucking get winded like this just practicing. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah, I was actually just lacing some shit last night with D'Astro.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
Cool, good shit.
I'm gonna do this track. I think I spit it for you before, the one where I'm talking about that first grade line.
I did that rings a bell, but I can't remember exactly what it was.
That's enough to really get.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's. I feel like you saying first grade. That's already gonna be something fucking. Oh boy. That's gonna be
something
crazy.
Filthy. Yeah, so that's what I was doing last night.
Word, good shit.
Yeah, and then putting together orders. We got another order yesterday.
Cool. No, that you know what? As long as they keep slowly coming in.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to everybody placing orders at hiphopzombies.com.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Trying to probably have some trying to have some new designs coming forward, you know, in the coming months.
Yeah, look there at July is when we're gonna, like, when we're out in the Midwest. I don't know when this is gonna. When are we putting this out?
Putting what up?
This episode that we're recording.
Like now, pretty much.
Okay.
Like once
all
we're
right.
done.
So then this weekend, when you see Madd Maxxx, if you're out in the Midwest in Colorado, plug the show where you're gonna be tonight?
Well, so I'm going to. It's Death by Denver is what they're calling it. I don't know how much of the actual shows I'm going to because the tomorrow night is sold out. Tonight I don't think is, but it's at the Roxy. It's Ouija Mac is the headliner. There's a bunch of others that are playing.
Nice.
So should be interesting. I'm honestly, I'm going out there to talk shop and like see people. So
isn't Cody Manson gonna be there?
Oh wait, no, that's right. I think he's playing the second night.
Oh, okay.
So at that point, that's
Cody Manson's gonna be on Hip Hop Zombies Ate My Neighbors this summer.
So that's pretty much why I'm going out there to kind of get everything laid out, kind of get things planned. But yeah, no, it should be interesting. I think it should be a pretty good time. Every time I go out to Denver, I have a pretty good time.
Yeah, because there's got to be at least a couple people listening to this who are going to be at that show. So if
possibly.
So if you see Madd Maxxx, come up and grab a fucking Hip Hop Zombies fucking little care package. He's got a little pin, got some stickers for you, got some propaganda for your fucking eyeballs. You just gonna play with your dog all day, or are we doing a podcast?
First of all, I've been talking. Second of all, you were plugging the product, and third of all, that made it sound like
what's going on. I walked down the stairs and the mic's recording, so you tell me what's happening.
Whatever's happening, it doesn't have to be anything happening.
Okay.
Maybe I will pet my dog for 20 minutes, and you want to know what?
They can't see the dog though.
But they can probably hear
dead
it.
Air. I'll just ramble on, and I'm just gonna plug away while we're fucking.
Yeah, there wasn't any dead air. That's kind of the point. And second of all, you kind of framed that like I'm just giving these things away. Am I giving them away?
Giving what away?
No.
That's why I said the care package. You gotta get that shit. It's gonna be $15. Come up and holler at my man, or you can go to hiphopzombies.com and order that shit piece by piece. But if you see Madd Maxxx in the parking lot, go ahead and give him some cocaine, and he'll tell you about the things that he's doing.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know how many people are. I haven't been exactly checking the metrics. I don't know how many people are watching this at any given moment, but one way or another, I think that it's going to be an interesting summer, to say the absolute least. I'm done with school now, and I have time to dedicate to literally anything else. So, gonna be able to actually start, like, I was hoping I might have some time to, but I don't think I'm going to, was get some of these rough tracks for my solos recorded before I went out there, but I'm just gonna do all that when I get back. It's like I said, it's crazy, man. Like, I don't know how long your union thing is gonna take, you know what I mean? Like, those kinds of negotiations probably take years, but that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you know, at the end of this now, it's very weird. It's very bittersweet. Like, it's like, yeah, it's good, I'm done, but just, like, the nature of everything has been just, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
in what way? What do you mean?
Well, just we've talked about this. You were one of the only people I was talking to about this when it was first happening.
Which thing? I mean, the people listening don't know what we.
No, I'm talking. Well, no, like what I was talking about, like my life generally.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
That's what I mean. Like for the last couple of years, like again, I started this program, and then like she left like as soon as I started practically. Mm-hmm. Like the first semester she was home, but she was mentally already gone.
Yeah.
And she, you know, left a couple days after Christmas. Comes home. You know, kids come home after New Year's from my parents, and she's living somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
fucking. You want to break down this whole story?
That's first of all would take too much time. Second of all, that especially if I'm involved in a divorce, I can't be fucking breaking out super personal information. Mm-hmm. But just suffice it to say that she hasn't been here for, technically speaking, 75% of my school.
Yeah.
Which was funeral directing. Mm-hmm. And that she was living with someone who was basically one of my teachers.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that part of it, it's like I said, now that I'm through it, and now that I'm done with the program, basically, I don't have to take the national board. Mm-hmm. I don't have to take the like regular, like the test that basically is, okay, you're a funeral director now. Mm-hmm. Like, now you can be licensed. I don't have to do that. I can get a job adjacent to the funeral industry. I could work for a casket company. I could work for the medical examiner. I could go try to work for Dodge if I want. Mm-hmm. Like, there's any number of different things that I could do with a funeral degree, even just within the funeral industry, let alone work in science or work in fucking business or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, I don't know. It's been a fucking journey, and now that as far as I know, with everything, I'm done with it. I mean, unless some kind of fucking curveball is getting thrown at me, like I'm finished. Mm-hmm. And I just. Because, like, I'm not trying to dive, like, right back into a funeral job, basically. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not trying to really work in the funeral industry like that, because now that I've spent enough time learning about it and knowing other people that work in it, it's, like, not a fun industry to work, man, at all. Yeah. Like, it's stressful, it's dangerous. Yeah. It wears on your body in many different ways, like...
I mean, that's anything in life, though.
Well, no, you want to know what?
To a degree, it's what it is you gotta figure out what your struggle's gonna be.
No, I understand that, but but you want to know what? There is an inherent difference, and I'm not saying that this is my situation specifically, but I'm saying that there is an inherent difference between a daycare provider and a coal miner.
Yeah. 100%.
So like funeral directors are exposed to things that other people you will never be exposed to.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's the point. Is that there are additional occupational hazards because you want to know what? I've seen things where recently on Twitter, because I can't use Facebook right now.
I mean, you got to think about all the sanitation workers that keep the world just functioning. There's so many occupational hazards with any given.
So you're right. Theirs invalidate mine. I forgot.
Yeah. Like, no, not that. I'm just.
No, well, that's how you're framing it.
No, all I was saying is that fucking.
Well, what? Yeah, there's going to be hazards everywhere. All I was saying is that it's an industry I'm not interested in, based on these things.
That sucks that you went all the way through it and then you find out that.
Oh, I knew it pretty much not that far in. Yeah. I was doing it for a specific reason. Yeah. And so it just happened the way that it happened. Anyway, I was trying to say that fucking. I've seen on Twitter, like, there are these girls that, they're sex workers, OnlyFans girls, and they suppose, as it looks, they have a lot of followers and assumably a lot of fucking subs, and they make a decent amount of money. But they talk about how stressful the job can be, and it's like, Yeah, if there's any high-paying job is going to have some aspect of stress.
Yeah.
It's very, very unlikely that you're going to have a job that pays very high that's not stressful. But there's also a lot of low-paying jobs that are stressful, so it kind of sucks one way or another. The point is that there's going to be obvious inherent struggles in everything.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what I'm saying is that I don't personally have any interest to spend the rest of my life, like basically in the funeral industry. I'm not going to own a funeral home. I'm going to always be working for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do that, I would rather have some kind of job that does not have the same levels of stress that being a funeral director does. Because being a funeral director requires you to just be involved with people on a very personal and intimate level.
Yeah.
And also dealing with their loved ones who are dead, and then potentially embalming, preserving, and cosmetizing and presenting them, and then burying them or cremating. Like, that's stressful shit. And I'm just like, I don't necessarily know that I want to, like, have to make that my life. My whole thing is this. I might, if I could, find a job where, working for a company basically, where they were big enough that I didn't feel I was taking anything away from them, and then working as working as a apprentice for 2 years, get my license, and then just be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I feel like at this point, it's like just find something that works and make it work, because I'm gonna do whatever I have to do one way or the other, but I'm just like, I'm not fucking interested in getting involved in that industry like so closely that's gonna be my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just, I'm not fucking interested in that at all.
I mean, I've hit that precipice in the cannabis industry the other day. You know what I mean? They keep on trying to push me towards management, and I try to tell, even the head of research and development, because each department, is pulling me each way, and I'm like, I don't want your position, because I would be much rather, I'd rather be in a one-bedroom apartment, and I'm able to pursue these interests at whim, and my phone isn't ringing about 80 different things going on, with a job that I fundamentally disagree with all of my supervisors.
Right.
So I'm going to stay in a position where I can just go to work, get my money, and then go home. But I'm also kind of, at the crux where,
See, that's what I'm saying, is that I'm at the point with what I'm doing where, like, I just, I'm not going to sacrifice my mental well-being on a regular basis for a better paycheck.
No,
I've said this for years, is that there's absolutely a dollar amount that you can place on peace of mind.
Yeah.
Like, whatever yours is, it depends, but I absolutely believe that's a thing.
100%. That's my, counterpoint to every time they ask why, like, oh, you do so good, you thriving, like, there's nothing else you can really do besides be a manager. You should be a manager, and they do this quarterly, and then I'm like, yeah, well, I still... There's managers that are fucking up a lot, like on a massive scale, and interfering with my job because of the oversights, because they want to still get high and act like the way that I can act, because I'm a fucking hourly employee and I just have a mastery of my responsibilities.
Right.
So I don't take on any other responsibilities, because I would fuck them up. Yeah. So that's like what all about life's about. But like America in particular, they kind of put you on this track where it's like, oh, you always want to be better and bigger and it's like, yeah, you can do that, but you have to understand that every single fucking more money, more problems, just to reduce it to nothing, that simple saying. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna have to sacrifice a degree of quality of life, because that's the trade-off. That's we live in a fucking universe where everything is eaten by like a greater or equal force. So you have to realize, like, you want to eat, then you're gonna have to get bigger, or you're gonna, like, you know what I'm saying? Pick your fights wisely. You know what I mean?
There was I seen something like I assume businessman of some sort, but he was yelling some shit talking about until like you want to go save the rainforest, you need some money. Like until you have some shekels, which I thought was funny. Like oh, you're gonna so he's Jewish. Good.
Some shekels, huh?
But he was until you have some money, you can't help nobody.
Yeah. Help
can't help
yourself,
anybody.
dude. Help your fucking family. Wipe your ass. Sweep your floor. Make your bed. You know what I mean? Like, that's where it fucking starts, man.
Well,
really
speaking of which, I unfortunately do have some
what
things
time
that
is it? You gotta get the fuck out
so
of
I
here.
got. Well, no, like I said, it's 5 minutes away. That ain't a problem.
Okay.
But fucking.
Is this the outro on what I came into this like
Basically,
back-
yeah. I was saying that I might do Get Good or Get Wrecked. That's the video game segment that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
But and maybe I'll do that, at some other point. But for this one, I think again because I got stuff going on, I got a plane to catch. I probably am just gonna keep it simple, just for the sake of being able to get something out still.
Mm-hmm.
But one way or another, I will. We will end it there, and I will see all of you guys next week. Like I said, my life just opened up a lot, so I am going to be able to be much more consistent about this.
Plug your Patreon.
Yeah, no, you got patreon.com/here's the thing. That is the spot for basically all things Here's the Thing. I'm actually going to start doing a lot more with that as well going forward.
You
So.
got the band performance up there. People want
I do, it is.
Yeah,
It's up there.
Yeah, so anybody who's been like, because we haven't really we've rolled so much shit out all at once. Though,
No,
like,
true indeed. That's
so,
I feel like that is
available,
gonna no, dude,
just so anybody listening and looking for that, like that is available.
All right, so much love to you, motherfuckers. We'll talk to you again soon. Peace the fuck out.